storage material ones that all shell.
All right, welcome to Island Moon Live. We're going to get the show fired up here shortly and get everything up and running. We got a few people stuck in some traffic, but they will get here eventually. Greg Smith, hopefully Jay Gardner, we'll see, and Jay
It's the
Stunnell.
hotline. It must be Commissioner Gordon.
Yes, exactly. We need the bat craft
Hey,
to
man, stuck in traffic.
get the boat, bring everybody over. Which is actually, that might be
It breaks
faster
up
than
right
people being stuck in
around,
traffic, is just
Red
snag
Dot.
a boat.
Look at
Go
this.
get
He,
'em.
Came through.
he must have come over on a drone.
So we're
Greg,
here.
Greg made it.
Well, Greg
He
just
did
got
make it,
here,
okay.
So we're back and Phil till you make it.
And welcome aboard. You have landed on Island Moon Live. My name is Jacob Boggs. It's another beautiful Island Moon Thursday. We are live at our Docks Waterline studio at the base of the beautiful and very highly occupied JFK Bridge right now. Looks like we've got some, there's an accident on the other end at right in front of HEB. Where's the accident, Dale?
No, it's not an accident. The accident is that they didn't set the cones up right, and it's construction.
Oh,
And
that's
so
fun.
you've got,
Oh, it's
Greg
not-
said he got across on, he was able to get on at Laguna Shores. I just came across it, and I just stayed in the inside lane, but it's a mess. Give yourself an extra half hour if you're coming to the island. And according to the press release we have in the Moon this time, it's going to continue until Tuesday.
There's more
So,
coming. Which
If you don't have a helicopter, don't go over the bridge unless you just have
Yeah.
to.
I gotta go downtown today. I'm gonna have
Because
to
you're
work that
gonna get stuck trying to come back out. We have Steve Ray's coming in. We're gonna talk about the upcoming city council political season and the
out. Oh yeah,
November
more and more people are announcing.
and the November elections. Once he gets out of the traffic jam.
Yes, and we've got Greg Smith who's going to jump on later. And I actually heard you guys talking about Tuesday to when the construction stops, but we're already going to have some 4th of July traffic on the way for Tuesday.
Yeah.
And speaking of 4th of July, we've got Nick Colosi here to talk about the Island Blast and fill everybody in on when to clear the area. Right? How's everything looking?
Wait, so we got all the money. You got enough money to buy the fireworks, Nick?
Say that again?
You got enough money to buy
Yes.
all the fireworks, Nick?
Yes, we have the money. Otherwise,
Awesome.
we would have had to cancel and lose 80% of it. So we have the money now. But any more monies that we still collect goes to the January 50% down payment. So when you enjoy the show, please contribute to help the down payment.
Where do people need to, if they're going to go by boat, where they need to avoid and what times?
Okay, what we're going to do, we will try to shut down the canal, the area between the yacht club where it makes the cut into the intercoastal and then makes the turn behind the water treatment plant. The reason for that is the wind will carry any debris over that waterway onto Spoil Island, which we try to burn down every year.
Right.
And so we don't want anybody in that area. We can't shut it down. Coast Guard won't let us shut the whole thing down, but we will have people on the water saying,
Well,
it's not a good idea to park
Last
here.
year we used, there were bigger pods that went up higher, and we didn't have a grassifier. So I would assume that's probably going to be the case this
Probably
year.
the same thing.
Because as we've gone to larger pods, they go up higher in the air and they don't hit the ground and start fires. So basically, people, if they're gonna anchor up, they need to get out there by 3 or 4 o'clock to get a good spot, probably.
Oh, yeah,
And will
right.
there be people there showing them where the boundaries are?
Yes. And we'll put some sort of a roping up, an orange rope or something signifying don't park
Okay.
here. But by late afternoon, it's solid fender to fender.
Right.
There's nothing left. And they get spilled over. They're parking in the ski basin all over the place. But
So
it's
the
done.
show goes off right after dark. It's usually about 9:15.
9:30.
about 9:15. Obviously weather permitting, but
And
that's
it'll
what we're saying.
Lasts about 20 minutes. So
16 minutes.
16.
16 minutes.
All right. So there you go. If you're coming out to the island, give yourself plenty of time to get through the traffic because we don't know what it's going to be like on the 4th of July. And if you're going to go to the show by boat, get there early, and they will show you where to anchor up. You can't just run down there at the last minute
No.
and get a good spot.
You can't get anywhere near the end of White Cap by 6, 7 o'clock. White Cap is a sodded park for at least a half a mile up the way, and all the side streets are packed. The people show up by mid-afternoon, both by boat and by car. They sit up
golf
their
cart,
grills, golf carts, and they sit up their grills, and they're there for the day.
If you have a friend with a boat, the good thing to do is to go over there by boat and kind of hang out near Nighthawk. That way you can watch the fireworks till 15, 20 minutes?
Yes.
And then you can stay for the extra fireworks all night long on Laguna Shores,
Yeah.
which are extraordinary. And they're not as high, so they're easier to see.
Okay, so if people want to contribute, it's Island Blast on GoFundMe.
GoFundMe,
Yeah.
or you can make a check to Island Blast and drop it off at the POA office.
All
But
right.
make it out to Island Blast.
Island Blast.
Okay.
So if you have fun, that's what you want to do. It's to say thank you, drop off a check.
Thank you.
Outstanding, Nick. Thanks
Okay.
again for jumping in. We're also joined joined by Jace Tunnel. How's it looking there, buddy?
Pretty good. I was on the beach all day yesterday, and some pretty amazing stuff washing in.
Yes, we have this show just so Jace can complain about his job, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah.
I don't know about complaining.
Yeah.
It's more like make the rest of us feel bad that we can't have that much fun
What's
at work.
coming in?
We had the most amazing thing. I had two cool things washing in.
And an airboat coming by
An
just as
airboat.
soon as you get in. Yeah.
One was in Port A, in between the jetty and the pier. There was about 1,000 sea hares that had washed up. And so
Wait, what's a sea hare?
it's like a sea slug. It's
Okay.
no external shell. They have a little internal shell, and they ink, kind of like a squid.
Okay.
And so when you pick them up, they get agitated. They squirt out this ink. But I mean, at sunrise yesterday, people were picking these things up and throwing them back in the water. So there's like the water was turning purple out there. I mean, it
Wow.
was amazing to see. I've never seen that many in one spot, but literally 1,000 of them. So tomorrow on our post for social media at Heart Research, I've got handfuls of them. I get some close-up shots and stuff, and I'll tell the story.
They're so pretty the way when they call them Spanish dancers or something. The way they swim and they're really cool to see.
Yeah, well, I mean, a lot of people are taking photos. They'll be out on Bob Hall or something like that, take a photo and be like, "What is this?" Because it looks like a really weird animal kind of flying through the water. Yeah, Spanish dancer. That's the other name for him.
That
Spanish
sounds
dance.
better than slug.
Yeah, yeah, right.
There are others.
Yeah,
too.
they have a good marketing team.
Well, somebody was asking me,
It's
they're
all in
like,
the PR.
they're like, man, a slug is kind of like a snail. Can we eat it? I was like, I don't think so. They eat algae and stuff, and like the toxins and the
Oh,
algae.
yeah.
Yeah, it wouldn't be good.
They're
So,
they're
no.
good for the sea, but maybe not to eat.
Right, right. Well, and I was thinking maybe going there in about a week to see if you can find the shell. It's actually the shell that they have internally is hard to recognize. And so, but I know what I'm looking for. The other thing I found this week was a cuttle bone. So you know a cuttlefish?
Cuttlefish.
Yeah.
Okay. They're sort of
And-
like a squid, right?
Yeah, they look kind of like a squid, and we don't have them around here.
Oh.
These are like Africa, Asia type stuff.
So
but
how did you know it was a cuttlebone and not?
I had
something
seen
from-
one before.
Okay.
Yeah, it actually looks like a piece of styrofoam. And,
Really?
Yeah. So I got a close-up shot, and you can see the ridges in there. It's their way of being buoyant, so it fills with gas and liquid and stuff like that, and it allows them
Okay.
to go up and down. And
So how do they eat? Squids, will have that beak. It looks like they'll take your finger off if they're big enough.
yeah, similar with a cuttlefish. Yeah. You would know. I mean, most people wouldn't know the difference
No,
between a cuttlefish
I've seen
and a
them
squid.
and they look
yeah.
the same to me.
Yeah. And then the other thing I found was a pin from a large squid. So squid actually have like this internal structure. It looks like a clear feather.
Okay.
And so it was pretty beat up. I mean, it looked like a piece of plastic actually, but I got a pretty good photo of it that I'll be sharing the story on that.
And that's where they store all their ink.
No,
No?
that's just how they're able to, because they move through jet propulsion.
Okay.
And if they didn't have this rigid structure inside of it, they would just collapse.
It's the closest to a spine as they could
Right.
get.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. But it looks like a clear feather. I mean, it's
clear.
crazy
it looks
looking.
like plastic.
Yeah.
Wild.
That's wild, man. And what part of the beach was this? Was this down by us or up on San Jose? Where'd you
This
go?
was right at the pier, and Horace Caldwell Pier there in Port A.
Wow.
Yeah. Found a lot of stuff. And I got a lot of other stuff took photos of. And the piers in the background and everything.
Is that, you think, from all the storms that we had last week that
It's
kind
the amount of
pushed up up here?
sargassum washing
Oh,
in.
yeah, it comes in on this.
Yeah,
seaweed,
and the crazy thing is like they had lots of that sargassum washing in, that seaweed.
Yeah.
It really piled up next to Horace Caldwell Pier. And then you go further down the beach and it's like, oh, there isn't any
It's 'cause
sargassum.
it's all,
So
it's 'cause
it's in
all out-
patches,
it's all-
Yeah.
Now it's good to leave that there. Like people have this huge debate about whether we should, shovel it off or push it off or leave it there. Like, what are your thoughts on that?
In moderation. So if there's a little bit washing in, yeah, leave it there. It's good. It collects
the
sand. It grows
ecosystem.
the beach. It ends up drying off, blows up in the sand dunes. It's fertilizer for the vegetation up there. But if it gets to be too much of it, like it was yesterday at Horace
Yeah.
Caldwell Pier on the south side,
Yeah.
it was so thick. It was probably knee to waist deep, right at the edge, and it was just piled up in one small spot, filled with trash and stuff. So,
Yeah.
so the guys were out there picking all the trash up out of it, and then they had a front end loader that was taking it, and then they back stack it. So there's a place right by the jetty where they were just piling it up, and I mean it was.
Oh, wow.
I mean, it was probably 15 feet tall I'd say dunes, but it was all
Yeah.
sargassum.
Yeah.
You know,
And it'll just hang out there and decompose.
decompose, and there were so many of those sea hares inside of there. The smell would burn
Oh,
your eyes
yeah.
out. And
Oh,
so,
yeah.
you know, it's a balance of what's better for the beach naturally versus tourism. It's a
Right.
we're
It's-
tourism. That's-
Isn't that always true with all tourism destinations? It's always that balance between
Right.
accessibility and preservation.
And I think the cities and the counties, they do a good job on leaving it there when there's not a lot of it, because we do have this seaweed coming in all year long.
Yep.
But we really see a lot of it. Really, May to probably August is the peak of when we get a lot of it. And we haven't had it real bad. I don't know, y'all remember 2014 time frame, where I mean
Yeah.
it was shoulder high
Oh, yeah.
cliffs.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah,
Except for the
I
part
was-
where it
I
wasn't
go
here.
back and do 10 years ago in the moon and 15 years ago in the moon. And this time of year, I find it. But in 2011, it was really bad.
All
Yeah,
the newbies,
maybe that's the bad, yeah,
all the
yeah.
newbies on the pins forums on Facebook, they're like, "I've been here 10 years. I've never seen it like that." Like,
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But you've only been here 10 years.
just wait.
That's right.
The bad thing about that sargassum, though, is the reason that you have to avoid it, because everything washes up in there. So
Yeah, you don't know what
want to
you're
walk
stepping on,
around.
yeah.
There could be glass light bulbs. There could be
Yeah.
boards with nails sticking up, and
Yeah.
it all in there.
Yeah.
But
That's true.
on the positive side of it, I say, tell people, if you're coming to the beach, don't change your plans. Come on out, bring a bucket,
Yeah.
and going
Right.
about knee-deep water. And that stuff's
Yeah.
washing in. You shake it out in there. Man,
Yeah.
you'd be surprised at all the fish and shrimp and
Shrimp that-
crabs in there. I mean,
It's really neat to see those things, because all the life in there is amazing. You're like, oh my God, I didn't and they all look like the sargassum. So if it's
Yeah, they're all hiding.
one of those fish, even
Frogfish.
or
Yeah.
even the dragons.
oh, yeah, the nudibranchs are in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've been
Yeah,
seeing baby Dorado, and you can find really tiny pelagic fish like sailfish and things.
And the seahorses are shaped like
Yeah,
sargassum.
all kinds of crazy stuff. We're gonna take a quick commercial break.
We'll be right back with
Everybody
Greg
hang
Smith
on.
and Steve Ray.
I gotta breathe the salty air and hear the seagulls sing, and then put on my kicks and take a walk along the jetty on the island, across the ferry. Breathe the salty.
Let me know if that's it for me and I can head out or whatever. Just let me know.
You guys, is there anything else you need
That
to
was the main thing.
hit on? Okay.
Are you going anywhere exotic or anything?
After this, I'm meeting Channel 6 out at the beach to talk about stuff washing up at the beach.
Who are you meeting?
Jada Strayer? I haven't met her.
Sometimes they're like, I don't know what is a fishing lure. Like, this is gonna be a quick learn on that one. But
I think they sea pigs is another thing I found yesterday, but that's like a norm for months now. There hasn't been a week I haven't found one. In probably
Sea
6
pigs.
months. Yeah, the piggy
Crazy.
bank- The piggy banks.
One night
Yeah.
only at the Holiday Inn.
Oh yeah.
2 weeks ago, I found 18 in one
Sea
day.
pigs.
Yesterday, I only
Yeah,
found
that's what you were
Talk
saying.
about the
Yes,
bluff like
that's,
that.
that's an entire sounder of pigs.
Catherine keeps telling me, don't bring any more of those pigs home because
Yeah.
I got them all in the garage.
Oh, those will give me your next.
I'm sure
crazy
they
dog.
smell terrific.
Happy birthday to her.
Well, no, like 2 weeks ago, I was on Inside Edition about the sea pigs.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah.
They just like saying sea pigs.
And they go like, what does this have to do with Trump?
Sound is really good. Like I can hear everybody clearly.
Yeah.
You're
Tied
like,
in
well,
the
apparently
pig.
it's all the
thanks.
global warming and yeah. That embargo off the. Yeah.
Jace, my sister collected buoys, so you go up to, I don't know if you ever went up to her house, you all these buoys hanging from
Oh,
the
yeah,
trees.
from the trees and
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Linda?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. The buoy, yeah, of course.
She had some.
I tried to
good
do
stuff.
that. Catherine wouldn't let me. She's like, don't bring anything else home. And so I just take it to my work. I have a little pile in the front yard. So if you ever go over there, huge chunks of coral,
Yeah.
metal floats that they haven't made since the 50s. I got piles of that stuff. And she doesn't know because there's already so much junk there. One day she's going to be like, I know that it's getting bigger. That pile's getting bigger.
Other way a little bit.
All right.
Back
Well,
that
I'll
way a
go
little
ahead
bit.
and head out then.
There.
Sorry.
Okay.
All right, man. Thanks for being
Okay,
here.
yeah.
Good to see you.
Talking to y'all. See ya.
Take care.
Oh, yeah, selfie.
I'm not hearing anything. I get over. Okay.
Take it.
Okay.
Later, Jace.
I went up to a send-off for Bill Hendricks last weekend.
Okay,
Yeah.
coming back.
He's leaving, huh? He left the planet. Yeah. Oh, guy we used to work with. This guy there.
And welcome back to Island Moon Live. We got everything up and running here at a high rate of speed. It
Except
was
the traffic on the JFK.
yes,
Is
no,
it still?
still little traffic on the other side of the JFK and the back of the bluff. If you want to follow along with a bunch of the stuff we're talking about, you can just go to islandmoon.com, where issue 1158 is up today, and we'll be hitting newsstands on your favorite retailers around Padre Island. If this is your first time listening to the show, we talk about things that go on Padre Island, Flower Bluff, Port Aransas, and the Coastal Bend. Tyler, the Salty Angler Thorson, Debbie Noble, Steve Ray, Greg Smith, Dale Rankin, and my name is Jacob Boggs. We are glad you're with us. And Dale, you want to start taking it away?
Well, I think I wanted to have you guys come in. We're heading into we're about 2 weeks out of the filing deadline for the
July 18th.
city council races. So we had somebody jump in District 4 yesterday, a new candidate I saw, someone I didn't know.
Same. Yeah. Dr.
what do you-
Dr. Krista.
What are you
Yeah, I
seeing?
don't know her.
What are you seeing in terms of how the races are shaping up, Steve?
Well, it's been pretty interesting. I actually, before I came over here, I went by City Hall, where I didn't have a very good meeting, by the way.
Yeah.
But and I asked.
We won't ask who you met with.
Yeah, but I was trying to get the list of people who have actually filed treasury reports, and of course now they're telling me, and believe me, if anybody knows about 4U, I do, because you and I've been there before and all that.
Yeah.
But now they're telling me, oh, it could be 5 to 10 days before you get that. I'm like, all you have to do is go make a copy, or you should have a running list, and you should put it up on the computer. Which
Right.
didn't make them happy. I'd already made the woman at the front happy, and she called a security guard to escort me up there. So, anyway.
Well, I looked through some of the treasury reports. There's some people have filed them, but that doesn't necessarily say what race they're going to run.
Absolutely.
Right,
Well,
right.
Michael Miller has said now that he's running for at large, so he is going to.
How many people are running at large? Do we know? I assume
It's
the-
unclear because people say things, they float ideas,
I
and say
assume
they're
that we're
thinking about
gonna-
running, and then they change their mind.
I
and they
assume
don't-
we're going to have some of the incumbents run.
I think. I think Carolyn Bond's going to be running at large, and
Are you sure? I've heard also.
no, she is.
rumors
No,
that
I'm
she's
sure
Not, but I
she's
figured
going to
you
be
would
running
know.
at
You would
large.
know, yeah.
She's going to be running at large. I think. Who else is on there? Of course,
Mark Scott.
Mark Scott's going to be
Scott,
running
yeah.
at large, and
Now, Roland can't run again.
Roland
right?
can't run
and
again.
Gil can't run again.
What about
Not
the
for-
mayor's
Gil can
race?
run
He
for
can run
mayor.
for mayor, but not for.
in the
Buffalo,
mayor's race, you're hearing 15 things about that too. You got the
Yeah.
two music guys, Ainsworth and our
I was-
30-day mayor.
I was at
And-
an event yesterday, and Ainsworth did stand up and say he was running for mayor.
Yeah, he's got the little long ass, long.
It's a promo.
Long,
It's a promo.
yes,
He's our man.
Promo running for 20-something.
What does it
minutes.
cost to run an at-large race in Corpus Christi now?
Well, it kind of depends on the person, to be real honest
If
with
you already have
'Cause
name
some
ID,
people
it's
spend a lot
cheaper.
of
But if
money
you don't
and-
have name ID, the number used to be around $90,000.
That I think that's probably still pretty much the same
But
because
some people run with nothing. Some people run
they
with no
do,
money in
and
their
look,
accounts.
it's all really about grassroots too. I mean,
Yeah.
but the problem with it in the large races, that's a lot of grassroots work you've got to do.
It's a lot
And
of
so-
block walking.
if you're gonna start, if someone is gonna go out that doesn't have name ID, it's got to go raise that amount of money. Where do you start? Who is your first phone call? Do you go out to political action groups, or do you go to individuals?
No, you go to your family and friends first, and see, because if your family and friends aren't going to give you any money, you might as well say goodbye to the whole.
We're gonna need a
the
bigger
whole
family,
idea.
honey.
We're gonna
Yeah.
need a bigger. We're gonna need a bigger boat.
So I think you got to go to your family and friends. Then you've got to talk to people that have the same ideas.
In general, theoretically, people would have said, "Hey, you're really smart. You should
Yeah,
run," and then
absolutely.
you go hit those people up.
But the problem is
See
when
if
they
they'll put
say
their
that
money where their mouth
they
is.
do want you to run, they just don't want to help
Yeah.
you run financially.
Is
So
water going to dominate the landscape?
it's going to be here's the thing: water's going to always dominate the landscape somewhat, but I don't think it's going to be nearly as big of an issue right now.
It's not a
Yeah,
single issue
no.
for the majority.
It
you
really
think?
is, and I think you're going to be looking at everything from crime to everything to a few other
Streets.
things.
Well,
along
I
we
the
used to have
streets.
street
It's
problems.
always
Now
street.
no one.
Remember?
always
Yeah.
a street
Streets was
problem.
always the big thing. Like you couldn't
I
get
was-
elected without saying streets.
I was looking at the announcement that came out from the District 4 candidate yesterday, and it's
Yeah.
okay. She's in favor. She's against potholes. That's a big one.
Yeah. Yeah.
She's against crime. We don't like crime.
No,
Wow.
no.
And she's in favor of sustainable water. So
Yeah.
there you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well,
If she was
Like I
in
would've-
favor of crime and more potholes, that might be
there would be the
that's
story.
man bites the dog.
There would be the story in which you might get some votes.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
going to be really interesting.
Nothing controversial in there.
I do think you're going to have a lot of people running on,
No, I
on
think so,
almost
too.
everything.
Yeah.
District 2 is going to be interesting to see what happens
Because
over
someone
there
else
with
just,
Sylvia.
it's Sylvia and Laura Commons and Selena.
Well, Sylvia's not.
Sylvia's
running.
out.
I mean,
No.
not Sylvia.
Yeah.
Sorry, not Sylvia.
Sylvia C.
But there is somebody else just.
Yeah, there's
said,
somebody
Selena-
that was on one of the other radio shows that
Begins with a
actually,
G.
huh?
Her last name begins with a G, and it's just.
Yeah, and it was very. She
gone
was.
right now.
I
I met
enjoyed
her
listening to
yesterday.
her. I mean, it was
Yeah.
interesting.
Well, what is as we had 12,000 signatures came in on a petition for
That's right.
essentially, I would say they're trying to put a charter amendment on the ballot that I would characterize as an anti-desal.
It's more of an anti-growth.
Yeah, anti-industry. yeah.
And industry. And what this
Yeah.
is so industry's been paying a voluntary surcharge.
31 cents per thousand gallons.
Yeah, it used
on
to
every
be a
gallon.
quarter on there, and they've paid close to $30 million. And this would eliminate that. Now, it's voluntary. And
Yeah.
what this does is in stage 3, they can still use the same amount of water. That's the switch for it. So that would eliminate that on it. And so from a ratepayer standpoint, there's $30 million that the city wouldn't be getting, or 31 cents
So
a
the
thousand.
residential side's going to have to pick that up.
Somebody's
right?
going to have to pick
Somebody
it up.
will,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, you're saying, okay, industry, you're paying too much. Pay less. We're going to make you. We're going to put
We're
a
gonna
charter
make you.
agreement
Make
for
you pay
you
less.
to pay less so
Now-
residents can pay more.
Now they think that they're going to make industry pay more. To be fair, that's what they think is going to happen. I don't think that is what's going to happen. They think that if they stop paying this voluntary exemption fee, that then City Council will then vote to make them pay way more. Something that City Council has never voted to do in the past.
Well,
ever.
and something that's totally off the radar is you, from a water user on there, you have to pay what the cost is. And
Yeah.
they divide it into users on there. So you
Yeah.
have your large users. And
There's like, what, 20 of them?
yeah, a couple
20-ish.
years ago, they really increased the rates. Well, the large users went back and did some pushback on there, and the PUC actually said in 24, the city overcharged them $9 million with it. And that was the PUC. They're completely off there. So this whole thing, people not understanding how the system works. Oh, how can we stop industry on there? And it's just a farce.
Well, so my question is, Steve, if you've got 12,000 signatures, I assume they've checked the voter registration of some or all of those. If you inject 12,000 voters into what's probably going to be a turnout of, 100,000, 120,000 people,
Yeah.
that's enough voters to swing any race on the ballot.
Well, it is if they actually get out and vote.
Yeah.
But I will tell you, those guys. I mean, I was asked about 15 times
Same, me
around.
too.
You know, will you sign this petition?
Yeah.
And then they didn't really even tell you what it was. I
They
knew what
didn't.
it was.
Half
and
of
I
them
say
didn't
no.
know what it was, and
Yeah.
I
But
watched
if they
people
all-
sign it, and they didn't even know what they were signing.
But if they only get half of them out to vote,
To only get half of them. If you get those people out to vote, that's a very big audience that you're going to have to deal with.
you're looking at 6,000 votes out of 100 and 110,000. If they vote as a block, they can elect whoever they want to, just about. And especially at large, where you don't have runoffs.
I don't think it's a block. I think it's a bunch of names on a thing. Like if people come up to me and said, "Hey, you want to sign this petition for like clean water?" That's literally
Yeah,
what they would
that's what
say,
they
and I
would
would be
say.
like, "I know what that petition is, and it's not about clean water,
Yeah.
and I'm not
Yeah.
going to sign it."
But the
So you have
question
a lot
here
of
is,
people signing
what
it.
happens if you've interjected 12,000 new voters?
If you interject that many people into the campaigns or into the election, it's going to make a huge difference for a lot of different people. Now, how many of those people will actually show up is a question. How many of those people understand what they signed is a question. And it all depends on how they have the money. But obviously they've got the money, just like they did last time.
Yeah.
And look, I'm a really I'll be real honest about it. I'm a big supporter of industry. Do I think industry could do more? Yes. But do I look? These people need to stop and realize that our jobs in this area are industry jobs, and without industry, we don't have a Corpus Christi as we know it. We have
Right.
Port A over here. you
That's
know.
a great point. There's actually something else that I want to bring up when we get back from this break. Everybody, hold fast.
On the island, across the ferry, border and sea.
We always say source money's coming in, whether or not it is or not, I never know. It's kind of hard to prove. But you know, I don't know. It's going to be
Sometimes
it's going to be an interesting race because that local races are going to be also affected by the state races this year.
Yeah.
And I'm going to
The
tell you,
Senate race.
and the Senate race in particular, and
Oh, yeah, huge.
and so
It's gonna get big turnout
and-
because of
yeah,
that.
so that gets a big turnout. That gets more people out, and
Yeah.
it gets Republicans who are very unhappy out right now, who are going to be splitting their ballot a whole lot more than they usually do. And
Well, I noticed we had more people voted in the Democrat primary this
Absolutely,
time
yeah.
than the Republican.
It did.
By about 3,000 votes.
That's not unusual.
Yeah. Because you got to get the Democrats to the polls. That's
Yeah.
yeah,
That's
and
always the
that
thing.
they did a really good job with the grassroots this time, and they had decent people running that people cared about getting out and voting for. Locally, I'm not for sure how much difference that'll make in like our county races and stuff, because we really, you know, look, Connie Scott's done a great job as county judge. Denise Villalobos may have some problems. She may have some problems, but she's done a great job as
That's
a
a
state
Democrat
representative.
district.
Yeah,
Numerically.
absolutely it is.
Is it?
Yeah.
Well,
You know, Connie
we're
won
calling
it.
it swing.
Yeah.
We're calling it swing,
Denise
but
won.
but in this year, I don't know whether it is or not, whether it's swing, and that's the whole problem.
Yeah.
I think both of those people are two that I don't want to say it's not on the air, but those two people are two people that need to be concerned. Put it that way. Even kind, and I know that they are. And
So it seems like the Senate race is probably going to drive the turnout more than anything.
Yeah, that's
probably
Oh, yeah.
so. Senate
Let's
race, and I
talk
think
about
here
that.
the congressional race will drive a lot of people out.
I want to
Oh,
talk
yeah.
about that. As
Okay, I'd love to talk about that.
because
Yeah.
we're kind
Eric
of
was.
I was in San Antonio last week, and was once we got finished talking about lack of water, that the Austin crowd, because they're looking at the boundaries and going, you guys are tied to the valley. Yeah, we are. Right out here on the
Yeah.
island,
Yeah,
we're
we are now. Yeah.
like it or not, we're
valley.
tied to the valley, and our Senate seats the same way.
You know, the good news for y'all on that congressional race.
Okay,
I'll talk-
here we go.
oh, yep.
We'll get to that.
Welcome aboard. It is Island Moon Live. Dale Rankin, Greg Smith, Steve Ray, Debbie Noble, Tyler the Salty Angler himself, Dorson, and my name is Jacob Boggs. We're on the air here, and we're on YouTube on Island Moon Live. You can watch this episode later if you want to go check it out and see how good we look. And if you want to look good too, you need to go to Ted at Impact Marketing. They're right there off of 923 Schatzel Street downtown. You probably have, if you've been around Corpus for a while or South Texas, you probably have some item of clothing. Either, maybe it's a t-shirt, a hat, pins, koozies, tech, anything like that with a logo or custom embroidery on there. You need to go check it out. 887-9300, 423 Schatzel Street is their showroom, or you can go to impactmarketingcc.com and just check out all the goods that they have. Custom screen printing, embroidery, safety gear, and more. If you want to look good, reach out to Corpus Christi's premier promotional products purveyor. That's Ted with Impact Marketing. Tell them you heard about it on Island Moon Live. And
if you're coming to the island today, give yourself an extra 20 minutes because we got the mother of all traffic jams over on Laguna Shores Road.
we're just getting a good warm up for the weekend.
So we're talking politics here with Steve Ray and Greg. I want to get to the congressional race that we're seeing here on the island. Since 2 years ago, during the redistricting of the U.S. congressional seats here on the island, we got pushed into a district down south. We're not in Michael Cloud's district anymore. As we sit here today, we are represented by a Democrat in the House who is going to be here on the show in 2 weeks, in Vicente Gonzalez. it kind of looks to me like the 8,000 Republican votes here on the island are kind of thrown into the breach here in this congressional seat.
Well, it just depends. I mean, do we really believe that 8,000 Republicans are just going to vote for Republicans in that race?
I don't know.
Because, look, a couple of things to look at, I think, as far as that congressional race is concerned, is this. Number one, Vicente Gonzalez is the only one who has Nueces County ties. He was born here, raised here, went to school
Went to
here.
Ray High School.
He's got a great backstory. He's always cared about Nueces. He came in here great guns already and has known exactly where to go and who to talk to and to do all that. He's asking for Republican votes. He's asking for independent votes. And look, he's not exactly one of the Democratic Socialist candidates,
Right.
shall we
No,
just
he's
say.
very, very moderate.
He's very moderate. I got tickled that I think it was Texas Monthly or somebody had a story the other day about the actually one that a little bit further south with Henry Cuellar, and it said we have the most Republican Democrat and the most Democrat Republican running for that seat there.
How much you think that congressional race is going to cost? I would assume there's going to be a lot of national money come in there.
Absolutely. I think when you get all that money in, you think what the whole race or just one of them?
Well, either one.
I think you're talking about easily way over. I don't know. I know what they've got raised now, so I'm just going to say
20
20 million at least.
Oh my
yeah.
God, that's
So
insane. We
what's-
could do so much good in the area with that money.
Yeah,
rather than
what's
spending it on?
what's the percentage of outside money that's been coming? Has it been on the rise? Are we seeing a lot of that?
I don't know that we've seen so much of it yet, but we will see a lot of it. A lot of it is going to PACs, and so that's what you're going to see.
They'll funnel it through
You're
that,
going to see
yeah.
what both of those guys have raised, and you're going to think, oh, that's nice, but it's not going to be anything.
Well, they did.
outrageous.
It's five districts across the state that they basically gerrymandered,
Yeah.
and this is
Yeah.
one of them.
Yeah, and I think, look, despite the fact I know why they did the gerrymandering and stuff, but the truth of the matter is, I could easily see a scenario this year where Democrats win out of those 5 seats, could win 4 of them.
Really?
Well, yeah, because I mean, you've got Cuellar's probably going to hang on to his. I would give Vicente the advantage in this one.
Incumbent.
And then you get to Monica de la Cruz, and truthfully, there's a lot of people that don't really think she's done a terrific job there. And she's got Bobby Polito running against her, man.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's
I'm
right.
sorry
That's
every
right.
Squeeze box.
every Hispanic family in the district has a Bobby Polito
Right.
recording in
Isn't
there.
he going to be
And
here
a
this
sign.
weekend for the Democrat
Yeah, he is
convention?
going to
I
be
think
in for
he's
the
playing at
convention. He's playing at the
this weekend
convention
here,
this year. And so you got those 3, and then, I'm trying to remember who all's even running in the other
Well,
two.
how strong? What is the role of the county parties in this? We've kind of seen the Republican Party here on the island they're kind of going through some changes. Do the candidates raise money through the party structure, or do they go straight to the donors? for the
They go
most
mainly,
part?
if they're going to make much money, they're going to go straight to the donors. Their party's trying to raise money themselves just so that they can get their offices opened and get their people operating and do the work that they need to do. So they're not going to have a whole
So they're
lot
not
of
putting
money.
it into campaigns.
Well, they may put some in there, but not much. And, it's also going to be very interesting to see because you have Connor, who's the Democratic guy, who's a very smart kid. Look,
He
he's
is.
just one of the smartest kids I've ever seen.
Nope, it's
And
true.
so he's going to give, the Republicans have been organized for a long time, and Carmen's doing a pretty good job over there. But now you're going to see, I think, the Democrats actually have some organization, which sometimes we think, well, that's an
You just
interesting
said
thought.
Democrats and organization. In the
Yeah,
same
that's what I'm
sentence.
saying. That's
Back
But-
to the city council races. It looks to me like we're starting to see slates kind of
Oh,
gather.
no.
Are you guys seeing that?
Only the Fab Five
I
thing.
see that. I see
I
it.
don't even think the Fab Five thing it can be called a slate because
No.
look,
Well, they're not
they have
even
too
all
many
running
different
it.
ideas
Yeah,
on
they do.
and they have too many different ideas on different
Yeah.
issues.
Yeah, they do.
Do I think
They're
there'll be
not a
some people that
monolith
try
at
to
all.
do slates? I would say probably. Do I think that's a smart idea? I think it's a stupid idea.
Really?
Because if you start running as a slate, the problem with running as a slate, and I always tell my guys this when they want to do that, I said, you run as a slate, you might get some good things from those guys, but guess what? You get every bad thing
You get
about
all
them,
their
and
baggage.
all of a sudden it's on your shoulders as
You're
well.
only as fast as the slowest
That's
runner.
exactly right.
Yeah, yeah.
Now I understand why some of them are going to be trying to be helpful with other folks because they voted with them primarily along the way,
Mm-hmm.
and I would never recommend anybody run on a slate.
But you're seeing what's at stake here, really. I mean, if you look at this petition that we were talking about, Greg, and we're talking about the future of the economy in this area.
Right, and they will have a slate for that. I'll tell you that. But and they did before, and then they tried to come up with Al Jones and that group, that had their other. I can't remember what they call
Are they
it.
Are they still in the mix?
I don't have any idea. I haven't seen anything. I'm sure they are.
They are. There's a desalinization. I wouldn't call it a slate, but an effort on there. Friendly candidates that will have a combined type of backing.
So is the Inner Harbor going to be front of mind? Is it still an issue? Is it?
It went back on the agenda. They put
But is it going? When we go through the election season, is that going to be at the top of the list of what people are talking about?
Here's the deal. I will say this. If they had finished up that far-field study like they were supposed to begin with, we probably wouldn't be having this issue now because we wouldn't know.
They'd find some other reason.
But but now, right in the middle of this last far-field study that they were supposed to do, the guy gets fired by somebody. We don't know why, and so they didn't even finish the whole thing up.
Well, no, it's finishing. I'm on the committee.
Are you good?
With it. One thing I found going through it, and I think they did a good job on the modeling. That the people, like
did.
Steve mentioned, they had the guy. He just disappeared in the night, so to speak, and he was a good modeler. But the fellow that took over did a good job. But sitting there, it was a big committee on it. I see a real emotional strain. Nobody's, like Debbie said, they'll find reasons on there.
Because all they don't need to get them to say no. They need to just draw it out and draw it out and draw it out
Mm-hmm.
until it just dies its own death.
Yeah, so now it's gone to the biological side. Far-field is studying salinity, which I've studied very hard. I did it on council, but the one big surprise to me was there is a lot more influence in the salinity in our bay from the Mississippi River than from an Inner Harbor desal plant.
Huh.
Because how much fresh water is coming down following the longshore drift. When I saw that chart up there, we're talking 1 parts per thousand at peak levels when you don't have a lot of tidal exchange. When you have a lot of tidal exchange, you can't even tell. But the Mississippi can change by 5 parts per thousand for the entire bay. And so we've got a bay system that is used to huge changes in salinity.
Yep.
Let's take right now with the rain. We'll probably, what Baffin Bay did on there, it was running high 50s parts per thousand with it, and it probably is half of that or a quarter of that now. So our ecosystem is used to these giant ups and downs, and I'm sitting on here with modelers that did a good job, and they're saying, well, every couple of weeks you're going to see about 1 part per thousand increase right in the Inner Harbor. The rest of the bay, it's invisible.
Yeah.
Because the quantities in comparison are so small. But this goes to the emotional factor.
Right.
People don't care.
No,
How do you
no.
boil all of that down to a 7-minute
Well,
stump
it's hard to say.
speech?
There's nobody out that I think is better at water than Greg Smith. I'll just
Yeah.
be honest with you. However, sometimes if I had to listen to him too much, and because he knows too much, and he uses these words, I'm like,
Excuse
if
me,
I'm
I
not-
live
yeah.
with Bob Paulison.
That's right. Yeah.
But if you, but that kind of cuts to the heart of the matter. If you're out there running for office and you're trying to explain all this,
It's extremely
and
difficult.
you got
It's hard.
somebody on the other side of the aisle going, "It's going to kill the bay. Don't kill
Right.
the bay."
Greg, in high school, didn't we learn, or even in middle school, the solution to pollution is dilution?
Dilution.
Right?
Dilution, yeah.
And that's a thing
right.
that everybody just doesn't listen to.
But
Right?
from the emotional side, I had one guy, I was still in office at the time, he wanted to settle the salinity problem outside. so I was explaining the days they used to mine salt in the Laguna Madre and
Yeah.
things like that. And
took him
let's
down
go
with
Did he have a
outside.
blank look on his face?
He was 20 pounds heavier and 20 years younger.
Yeah, but he didn't have the history.
Yeah. I declined to settle it outside.
But I think that cuts to the heart of what we're talking about
Emotional.
here. Is if
Many
this
thi-
is
many
the
things.
issue that's
Yeah.
going to drive the election, it's a very hard thing to talk through in a political season.
Well, and I think that's true. And you've got a lot of different audiences there that may not agree on much else. And look, I'm a big desal supporter. I remember I worked for Poseidon when they first came here years ago and tried to get desal. And had we gone with that, we probably would have been in great
Responsible.
shape.
You're for
Yeah.
responsible desal.
Yes,
we're
absolutely.
All, we're all for
And
responsible
so,
desal.
do I have qualms about the Inner Harbor? Yes. Do I have qualms about desal? Absolutely not. I think desal is the the alternative that will save us on our water issue here in the future.
Right. But you see what happened here. We started talking about city council races, and we go right to water.
Absolutely.
That's where this political season is going.
I think it will for a while, but I think after some people are going to start looking at it and say, well, what about the other issues that are facing us? I mean, look, our crime issues are bad. I drove down
The
to City
budget.
Hall today, and along Staples Street is filled with homeless people. I don't know how those businesses are going to stay in business because they're all camped outside their
The
business.
few that are still in business.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of them have already gone out of business. And
We've
so
also got the issue of our bond rating, which is
Yeah.
it's dropped.
Yeah, 'cause we're not
We've
gonna-
taken 2 hickeys, right, Greg?
And we're under a negative watch. And we just had an issue, it was either this week or last week, and because of that, we paid a quarter point, 25 basis point more in interest. The cost to this was utilities on there, so the cost to the ratepayers over the life of the bond is $5 million. But where we're going, I want to give credit to staff in this city council. They have done a lot to, they started pumping the Mary Roads pipeline like it's supposed to be.
Right, and thank
A-
you, Greg, for
absolutely
helping to make that
huge.
happen, yeah.
As we're sitting there talking, they're working on both ends of the sewer, the reclaimed water.
Yep.
On there, phase 1, phase 2. They've already got the contractor done on it. They've done the Evangeline. They've got the deep wells. You total all these things up, we don't need the lakes anymore. And for current demand, if I was on council right now, I'd be saying, who's going to be buying this water? We need to be selling water.
Yeah.
Because everything the city has done to bring on new supply.
That's
Right.
well. That's
And we're-
something
we
that
have
the
to pay for that. We have to
that's
pay for that.
something that the incumbents can hit on
Oh,
in
yeah.
this race. But it's not an easy thing to explain. It's
No,
not a
because
bumper. You can't fit that on a
because
bumper sticker.
everybody is
Yeah.
convinced that we
So-
have too much demand.
so once you get
and the
past-
problem wasn't demand, it was supply. We didn't
Once
have
you-
enough supply.
Once you get past water, then what's left on the political agenda?
Well, and it's kind of related to water, but if I were telling some of my guys what they ought to be looking at is I think they need to take a close look at the data centers and how much that's
Yeah.
going to.
Yeah.
I mean, that's going to cost us a lot of money. It's going to use a lot of water,
And
and
electricity.
what are we going to get for it?
The question-
Besides really bad concert flyers. And
The
cat
question,
names.
what are we going to get for it, is what I want to get to once we get right back from this quick commercial break. Island Moon Live will return. Everyone hold fast.
Patiently for our reward to watch the dolphins play in the big old tanker's way.
Water is
On the island.
but you always throw in tourism with it. That's kind of like Kalen's, that's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
You know, in October, we'll have a 5-minute show because there will be nothing but political ads. Guaranteed.
Well, that's great.
That's it.
I like that.
I'm not
One
kidding.
guy goes,
Sign 'em up.
They're putting PFAS in the water, and I'm like,
I just
they're
think
not? That
I
has
look
nothing to do
around
with
and I just
And someone else goes,
while
"But we
anybody
want
talks
for
about
hygiene," and I'm
water, I
like,
watch the
"Absolutely,
council
you're
meeting.
not
They
gonna
just
not
line
have
up
that, and
down
that has
there
nothing
week
to do
after
with
week, and it's the
From
same
some of the
thing
guys
over
you
and
have out here
over.
working these
And I-
with these contracts, I'm not
If
sure
we
they
get
know
some
about
September
hygiene.
rains, we get more water, that will take some of that off. But yeah, it's 2016 was all about water.
I understand that they're not
That
sure,
election.
and that they
That's
believe-
after
they
the
believe
water
what they
boils and
believe. I don't
stuff, and
believe
this
that they're
is
lying. I believe what they believe.
order of magnitude bigger than
you have to-
the
Later in
water
the
boils.
hour, I want to get to
some ways. Well, I mean-
Barney Davis and also
Yeah.
the container.
I
That's-
get it. I get
Well,
it.
this
I get it. But most of
This
the people
goes
who are
Barney
passing that
Davis
petition
to
around and/or having people sign it
everybody's in
didn't even
favor
know
of
what was
Barney
in it or
Davis, and
understood
it's
what
moving
the
forward. It's a
terms are.
nice thing.
Is it? I'm hearing it's Trump behind it, right?
Yeah, there
He's
they
got some
could
federal
be.
money.
There could be, and some of the state money could be used for it. It's environmentally a much better plant. You put your brine offshore, no problem. You don't have the hookup. You got a transmission line right there. Boom, power, of course.
And you don't have to float any bonds. Or
Yeah.
Well, here's what the feds in the state need to do, though. They keep saying, okay, we're going to give you this money, but here's what you've got to do, and here's what you've got to use, and here's all that. No, they need to say, you know what, we realize the issue, we realize how much money it's going to cost, here you go, we're writing you a check.
Yeah.
Right.
And then let the city do the city's work, not
Well, right now, the city's not doing it.
Well,
Good
it's
job.
kinda hard
That's the
to when you've
problem.
got it.
I don't trust them to make a good decision right now.
They're throwing at a dartboard blindfold is their decision making.
Yeah.
What I'm going to get to that is
Yeah,
where
refuses to
where
make
does
a
this
decision. The only thing everybody guesses on is impeachment.
Where does the water issue land after the election? That's going to be the question, because I don't think you're going to have a vote on Inner Harbor before the new council comes in.
Probably not. Greg and I
Well,
were
you
talking
have,
about
you
it
have
earlier.
a vote on it
Yeah.
next week, because they're voting about
For $120 million.
$120 million grant they want to apply for.
But here's what people don't understand: the water issue has been solved. We've got to get the pipelines in and everything
Yeah,
else.
but we
The
got to
ex-
look to long-term solutions.
Well,
too.
that's a Barney Davis or something else. But for right now.
Well, what we did is we just
Welcome aboard. You are back on Island Moon Live. So just before we jumped off to that break, Steve, we were talking about, you brought up the data centers and kind of industrial side of AI development. Everybody's using it more and more in their lives, and we're seeing a lot of that kind of come in. How big of an impact are kind of data centers and AI usage going to be on this upcoming election?
Well, it depends on the candidates and how they use it. I think it could be a great issue for some folks, because I'm not sure that everybody understands how much it's going to cost us, or what it holds for the future. And look, we've got 3 of them coming up in this area.
Yeah,
at least
yeah.
3 and maybe
This
4.
it's an issue all over the
It's
state.
a huge issue.
Yeah. So the 2 things on that. One is, yes, it's all over the state. We're not just isolated
Yeah.
in this.
No, it's all over everywhere.
And similar to other, tons of other big cities and larger than us are having water issues as well. But as far as these big guys coming in, talking about data centers specifically, are they going to? I know they're going to be attaching to the grid, right? Some of them now have reclaimed water systems, so they're not going to be a burden on the water supply necessarily. But are they going to be paying in on the grid? How is that all going to be integrated?
Well, I don't know, and that's if I don't know, then all of a sudden nobody really knows what's going to happen.
But what it leads to is as it comes down the road, it's a responsibility of city council to dictate that, right? Or is that an ERCOT issue?
ERCOT. Water is city council, powers, the city has nothing to do with it.
Right,
Okay.
that's true.
Well, where does it, as we get through the election cycle, where does all this land? I mean, a year from now, if assuming that the water situation is resolved one way or another, what else is at stake in this round of city council elections? As you council candidates, what are you going to tell them to talk about?
Well, look, I just was, when I was talking to Greg just a little bit earlier, I said, even if water becomes less of an issue, people should be talking about, look, we need a 50-year water plan. We need a 100-year
long-term
water plan.
solution,
We need
yeah.
a long-term solution, and make sure that that's going to happen. And that's still important to most folks on both sides.
And people have said the days of cheap water are long gone.
I think that's
so.
probably good.
As a city, if we can position ourselves to become a water sales outfit, why would we not get behind that? Right? Is that the goal, Greg? Is that like the 10, 15-year goal?
I think absolutely. So we have to be careful. We need shovel-ready kind of projects, and we actually have one right now. And that's M&G Chemicals on there. The plant's already built. The city's in negotiation with that. 9.4 million gallons a day go up to 14 million. We've got Inner Harbor, which they estimated at $9.14 a thousand. We've got the NRA Harbor Island, which they estimated. They said
They don't
water's
have any
going for
estimation.
$12 to $15 a thousand, and then Barney Davis, where I've heard numbers as low as $6 a thousand. And going long term on there, we've got to go in there. Desal is absolutely our long term option, and go in. The next thing is affordability. Okay, so we've got 4 projects sitting out there right now, and anything we do takes 4 or 5 years. So what is the cheapest to the residents and the industry? What are they willing to pay on there? That's what needs
Sounds
to be
like
our
it's
focus.
Barney Davis.
Everything that I've
That doesn't
seen is
include.
Barney
I
Davis.
think you have to look at all those projects and make sure you're including transport costs as well.
Barney Davis has a
That's what I'll do.
42-inch transmission line. That's one of its big pluses sitting there. It's got the power structure. It's got one of the largest generating plants in the state.
And it
on
doesn't
there.
require city debt, right?
Doesn't require city debt. And then as far as going to offshore discharge on there, being fairly close to the Gulf, you bore under the Laguna Madre. You don't need to trench it. You can just do a bore, just like the last water line they put over here to the island on there.
What, as far as help from the larger kind of Texas state as a whole, or from influence as far as the federal level goes, where are we looking at? What's it look like out the front door of Corpus Christi right now?
They think we're totally dysfunctional. You know,
Yeah.
I wonder where they got that idea.
Yeah, the governor has made noise about taking over their water system, and we've got that take that serious because the state did take over the Houston Independent School District.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's true.
So
that's true.
they've got a record of doing
Be
that.
careful what you ask for.
Be careful
Yeah.
what you ask for. So we, and I was talking to somebody about some federal stuff on there, and he said, "Well, they're going to be coming to the table on there." I said, "Is it a loan or
Yeah.
is it a grant?"
Grant. Yeah.
Because that's a huge
remember,
difference, yeah.
the state lent us some money, but it's a loan. We got to pay it back. So
it was a lower interest
it's-
supposedly, but still.
yeah,
it's-
you
we still
save a
gotta pay it back.
percentage on your deal, but you got to pay it back.
But
So-
let me just say, one of the things, issues I have with this a little bit is this is all taxpayer money.
Yeah.
And so I get irritated at the state or the feds all saying, oh, we're going to give you this money and this is what you got to do, and then you got to pay it back to us. Because guess what? We paid it to them before already.
It was our money.
And it was our money. And so we need to. I don't like the fact that the state's trying to do things in the cities and force the cities to do that, or with the school districts and force them to do
Yeah.
that. Let's just make sure that they have the money and the opportunity to do what's right, and then let the voters take care of it, because the voters will take care of it the next time around.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
but they don't want to do it that way, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I get it. I know they're frustrated.
Well, and then what about Dale? I know you probably know a little bit about this as well. The city operating a desal plant versus private industry operating a desal plant, is
That was a debate they had when Greg was on the council.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think.
But we
Poseidon.
didn't get to a resolution on there.
No.
Private industry is going to do it for half the price.
okay. If people are concerned with the bottom line, Greg Smith just said your answer right there.
Well, the way
But private industry has to make a profit, and we have to pay. They have to make money, or they're not going to do it.
The city is so inefficient in what they do that the
you
profit.
just look at the cost of projects.
So 2 years ago, I was there. They wanted to spend over $1 billion on there. The first phase was $100 million, twinning the Mary Rhodes pipeline. I said at the time it doesn't add one drop of water, but it
Right.
made it easier to operate.
Right.
And
right.
that, how did the Inner Harbor plant go from $230 million to $1.2 billion?
I never understood that.
Because you kept adding and adding and adding to it. Well, we need this and we need that and stuff, and we're just going to put it in
It
the
just seemed
rates.
like it went in a black box and came out the other side at 3 times the price. I never quite understood.
And our estimates all came from the private industry side, and in the international operations on there, most of the seawater desal plants are operated by private industry.
Here's a perfect
And yeah, we
example
don't
for
want to
you.
do. We don't even want to do public-private partnerships, and that's a problem for me.
Look at the golf courses.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Great
Look how much
example.
better they are after they were taken over by private. They're maintained well. Everything runs good. You got an overnight course. You can play golf at night.
So, Steve, if you're advising a city council person or a mayor that's an incumbent, what do they point at and say, look what we did? What's positive out there that they could build a campaign around?
What's positive that they could build a campaign around?
Yeah. I mean, water is what I hear as I travel is we can't decide what we want. What I hear back from Austin is tell us what you want, we'll help you get there. But as long as you're punching each other in the nose, we're not going to do anything.
Well, and look, that's a problem on both sides of this issue, of any
Yeah.
issue out there. I mean, it's not the blame of what they call the Fab Five or what do they want to call those guys. It's not their fault, and it's not the other guy's fault. It's everybody's fault. And they need to all either learn to work together or they need to get out.
Are we headed into a break?
You
That
just
sounds
both
great.
sides that.
We're about to jump into a break. Once we get back on our second hour, we're gonna have a good hard look at council and realize that this upcoming election is going to be very
Interesting.
interesting. Yes, yes, Debbie. I agree. We're going to take a quick break. Island Moon Live will return. Everybody hold fast. And if you're listening on the radio, we're going to take a quick break for KRIS News. Stay tuned.
On the waves, on the island,
like to let the fishermen know what desal is going to do, if it's going to do anything. And they're all up in arms all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, Carolyn spends half her time on the phones with fishermen everywhere, you know,
Really?
because her family's a big fisherman.
My buddies are big fishermen, and I try to explain like, oh, they say, oh, there's all this poisonous silt that's in the bay. Like, you don't realize what's going to happen later on. All those rocks are going to be better reefs. They'll have less erosion.
Yeah.
But it looks like, hey, it's all stained. It's killing all of it. You know, it's like, and then they go. I mean, I get what they're worried about because they don't want it. They don't want.
And
the
and if you
pollution.
look at what they've been promised in the past, I mean, North Beach is a prime example. I mean, they've had some terrific projects that could have gone in out there. And guess what? Somebody on the city council got too worried about what was that going to do to the out here or somewhere else. And so, North Beach got screwed several times on not only that little canal they were going to put through there, but on those islands that they were going to put out there.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just like, God, what are you guys thinking? And it wasn't just city council, it was other folks as well. But I'm just, sometimes when you have a great idea and it's something that can make a huge difference for the future, there's too many people that it's not their future. So, or their
That our motive?
pocketbooks.
What?
Started
Is that our
working.
motive?
That's our backup plan.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
That's your pocket IFB.
Yep.
Transistor radio, so listen to the.
One of the big things
Baseball
is
game.
having a council that can work together.
Yeah.
To agree to disagree and treat each other with respect.
And I think if people will look at it, they'll see as well, all those 5 guys that they keep talking about have not always been consistent about voting with each other.
No.
I mean, Carolyn's voted for desal several times when the others haven't,
Yeah,
for example.
she did. And
And-
I thought, but now she seems like she stalled out and changed her mind again.
Well, you know why? Because of the way they're treating her on it. I don't blame her.
Who's treating her?
Huh?
The way who's treating her? Like, I mean, I don't know, because which side? They're all, it's all.
Well,
this-
let's just,
I don't know who's-
look, since we're not on air, I'll say
we
this.
are
The
on.
mic
Yeah,
is
we
on.
are on.
Well,
They're always
if we
live
got
on
a
the
live
show.
mic, we'll just wait.
There is no not live on the
Let's
show.
give the headline
Well,
now.
the stream is live.
Well, that's one of
Like it's on
the.
Facebook.
My question is, what's the council going to look like in January?
more
Are we going to
functional.
see? Is it going to be a throw the rascals out election, or are we going to? You think?
Hey, let's we'll jump back in second hour, first segment, about 11 minutes, and we can fire this up if you guys are ready.
All right.
I like to wake up in the morning, barefoot and set free. And walk
Island Moon Live returns here on 1440 KEYS Corpus Christi and 98.7 FM. My name is Jacob Oggs. We've got Tyler Thorson, Debbie Noble, political consultant Steve Ray, former city councilman Greg Smith, and Dale Rankin. My name is Jacob Oggs. Dale, you
Well,
were talking about the election, right?
Yeah, and my question is to you guys. So in January, when we swear in new council, swearing in at noon, swearing at commences at noon 30. But how many new council people are we going to see? Is this going to be a throw the rascals out election, or is this going to our incumbents? It looks to me like
You're going to
with
see
the
at least 3 new ones.
with the council split the way it is, that you're apt to see some new faces. How do you read the tea leaves?
I definitely think there's going to be some new faces. I think one of the things that people need to keep in mind as they look at who they think are going to win and who they really want to vote for is this. On the at-large, just remember, it's the 3 people with the most votes.
Yep.
I mean, as long as
Yeah.
I think it's 11%, and that if you have
Yeah,
to get 11%,
you have a minimum.
there's a
that's
minimum
never-
amount, but that's
How many
pretty-
are in that field so far?
in the at-large?
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to say right
That's what I'm
now.
saying.
but-
They don't start filing
Yeah.
for real until July 18th, and it goes until
Okay.
August 17th. That's your filing. That's your filing.
Okay.
I think
Time.
Carolyn and Mark are definites in there, and I think you've got Ainsworth, you've got the former mayor,
Yep.
you've got a couple of other people that have said. I can't remember.
Uh,
whether-
but,
Laura
Scott
Collins.
Elo, I don't remember what he
Yeah.
said he was going to do.
Scott
Laura Con-
Corliss.
Yep.
Yeah, Scott
Dan
Corliss,
Harrington's
yeah.
running for
Yeah.
District
Dan
4.
Harrington, D4.
District 4. So
the
there's a
lady in
lot
Flower
running
Bluff.
those. And the thing is, most of those guys are on a different side. I mean, on the same side together.
Yeah.
So that's going to be interesting. My guess is that a lot of folks will be waiting until the end until you get closer to the end.
And you're going to
file.
have 4 new people anyway, because you got 4 people who can't run
Yeah.
again. Or
But
who-
you're
well,
gonna-
maybe 3. Maybe 3.
But I'm just trying to get a handle on, as you make the rounds. I mean, you see it at the national level, but it seems like there's a sort of a groundswell for change. That's what I'm sensing.
I
That's a
think
good
that's
way to
right.
put
You
it.
know, and a lot of people have said, "Oh, they're not going to have a single person reelected on the city council." Well, yeah, they will. But
people always say that. People always
I
say,
know.
"Oh my God, we're going to vote out all the bums,"
Oh, yeah.
and then they
And then
don't. They
they
vote
don't
for
do
names
it.
they know, and they vote for incumbents.
Got a question for you,
I-
Steve. You think there'll be any kind of socialist AOC kind of effect with if some of these more extreme type people, no new industry, get on there? How much is that going to affect everything? Do you think we'll have a
there could be an effect from that. I mean, but it's primarily going to be, look, that's how Sylvia won, and not
This is Texas,
just to be
though.
honest about it, it's Texas. You're not going to find that one that's citywide. I don't think that's going to do that. If people get out and vote, now, if you get those people that sign that petition, that's the only folks that get out and vote. That's a whole different story. But I can easily see a city council that doesn't have very many of the same people on it, which I think is always a problem because look, one of the
Institutional
main
knowledge.
reasons, absolutely, that's
huge.
exactly what I was going to say.
That was something that we ran into last election. We brought in,
Yeah.
4 new people, and then they spent the next 3 months learning everything
And
they
then we
had
are-
to learn about water instead of having an expert
Yeah.
panel of people that have been doing it for
Yeah.
years really say,
Yeah.
hey, this is the plan. Here's what I think we should look into. Here are the options
Here's
and go.
all the
And-
things we already looked into.
And then you have people throwing city staff under the bus. You have
Yep.
you have voters throwing city council under the bus.
Yep.
You have the mayor
City council
trying.
putting city
Yes,
council under the
exactly.
bus.
There's buses involved everywhere.
yeah.
People.
Yeah, the parking lot is full of buses in city.
You've got a lot of people who are normally intelligent folks that see things totally different that you would never expect to. And the thing is, it's hard to explain, like you explained, like, well, this is why it's a good idea. We've got more water than we actually use. But you can't explain it because you get the guys like that to sign a petition. Well, you like more water, clean water? Oh, hell yeah. But what is this? Oh, well, no.
But realistically, out of that 12,000, how many of them are going to vote? What's seat of the pants estimate? 5,000?
5.
And
Be my
even
guess.
then, they thought they don't even know what they were voting on in that. A lot of those
Yeah.
people
It
could vote for
doesn't
anybody.
matter
It doesn't.
if they vote as a block. They got
How are they gonna
5,000
vote for a block?
If they
They're-
vote as
they're
they give,
random
they'll
people
send them
from all over the
they'll
city.
send them a slate card. I'm not for sure they're going to go through with that slate card. They're going to see somebody that they know and they're going to vote for it.
Yeah.
Because really, even after all this, it's going to be about name ID. I mean,
Yeah.
and
Well, so-
what
and
names they recognize.
You've seen
Yeah.
you've seen the change with the grow in social media and alternative media other than just kind of standard legacy media, we'll call it, for elections. For new people, how important is that kind of not reaching the younger crowd, but using alternative media to
Well,
to an
I think
election?
it's extremely important. I will say that by the time the election gets here, people may be so tired of it that it's not as effective as it should
That's a
be.
good point.
Yeah.
And because I will just tell you all the things that the Republicans are putting out about Tallarico and
I'm
the
tired of that already,
And
yeah.
the Democrats are putting. I mean, I get that. I have friends that send me the ones that are just really
I
nasty.
get them. I get
Yeah,
all of it.
Oh,
I
You get,
really get it
gets
from
one with
everybody.
Tallarico in a tutu. I'm just like,
the,
come
Yeah.
on.
the mud
You know,
has
and it's-
only begun to
Yeah.
fly.
Oh yeah,
my
so
friends.
it's
Yeah.
In a bunny
important-
suit?
Yeah.
In a bunny suit?
I didn't see the bodysuit.
How important is block walking of all the?
I
of all
think
the
block. I
methods?
think this is particularly this time around in this
Yeah.
kind of an election, one of the most critical things is block walking, and
Especially in
and-
single members.
Yes,
Yeah.
and getting
Single
out there
districts,
and shaking somebody's hand and asking for their vote. I had a great
And
aunt.
listening to them
Yeah, I
and
had a
seeing
great
what
aunt,
their
and
issues are.
she told me one time we had a relative running for office, and he didn't ask her for a vote. She did vote for him. She said, "You didn't ask me for my vote."
Yeah.
So I mean, you gotta
That's right, if you
you've
don't
gotta
ask.
ask people for your
Well,
vote.
a few years ago, we moved the city elections to November.
Bad move.
I was going to ask, how has that worked out?
I think it's a really bad move, and I would like to see them. They need a lot of city charter.
You want less people
revisions.
voting.
Well, I don't want less people voting. I want people that know how they're
Right.
what they're
Yeah.
voting for
But
to
still,
vote.
that's less people.
That aren't
Maybe.
guessing.
Yeah.
But, yeah,
not
without-
just,
without a guess.
Not just going. I recognize.
I
that
also
name
would
or
like to
whatever.
see us go to a system where we don't elect everybody at one time, and
Oh
that
my gosh, I
and
know.
we go to a longer
That's in the
tenure.
city charter, though, right? Doesn't that involve changing the
Yeah,
city
and that would,
charter?
we're going to
Well, we
change
had
the
an
city
election
charter anyway.
when we moved it, and we
Yeah.
had to, we did that a few years ago. And when Nelda was in there, I think she was probably after some of the Democrats that turned up in November and didn't turn up in the April-May cycle. But here we are now 10 years down the road, and if you're running for city council, you're talking about raising $90,000. You're out there bumping up against people who are running in partisan races. They're
Yeah.
going to the same donors.
Yeah.
And then that changes
That's
the
true.
whole
Change-
perspective
changes
of the
it.
race.
It does.
Yep.
And so I would love to see it move back. I think that was a big mistake. And
How do you think the Senate race, if at all, will impact the city races?
I think it'll affect it dramatically because the turnout's going to be bigger. The people are going to look and see what political party people belong to now, even more so than they usually do. And city council, and in all honesty, I'm a big believer in that city council should not be about partisanship.
No, it should be nonpartisan.
And, I may know who they are, and it may be if I'm kind of caught between one of the two or whatever that's in there, I might take a look
The
at it and
game's
say, okay,
the game
yeah,
is
well,
too. It's too. I can't say too one-sided. It's too two-sided.
It's
These days,
it's too
everybody's got to be on one side of the aisle or who your friends are, and
Yeah.
so I think
and look, those people who say, the congressional race is a good example of how that can work. I mean, people say, oh, you got a Democrat and Republican, so we know where they stand. Well, no, you don't.
yeah,
not
You
in
know, you
Texas
don't. Pay
necessarily,
attention.
yeah.
You don't
Yeah.
know where they stand.
No.
I mean,
because there are different kinds
Yeah.
of Republicans, different kinds of Democrats too.
So will you
Especially here in Texas.
will you typically work in more than one council race in a cycle like this?
typically I would. I probably won't this time. I'll say this one on public because Greg never believes me when I say this because I've said it before. But this is really my last cycle, and so
How many
Until the
cycles
phone
have you-
rings.
How many years
have
have you
been
been
in my
doing
last cycles.
Bullshit.
How long
This
have
is
I?
a farewell
I've been
tour.
in this since 2008 when I did. Well, actually a little bit before that but mainly since 2008 when I did Todd Hunter's race. But before that, I did the Barbara Canales race against Shuey Hinojosa, which
forgot about that
which
one.
she should have won, but Nueces County was split, and that's back when Democrats were really in charge of everything. So
Well, you did Blake's race, which was the first time we got an R in.
it was. I did Blake's race in 2010.
And the other thing you did, you put a Ferris wheel on Destination Bayfront, and that shot that down. You've been influential.
That's our Murdoch training coming
Yeah.
out, right,
Yeah.
Steve?
That's right. That was a pretty good video.
I just want to hear him deny it. I know it's not true. I just want to hear him deny it. Yeah.
But so I assume the mayor is going to. Let's assume she's going to run for re-election. You've got two people already in. How many you think we'll end up with? Are we going to
On the
see
mayor's
another
race?
big name in the mayor's race, or?
I keep thinking I would think so, but I don't know anybody that's really thinking about it.
Yeah.
It's
All you got to do is watch one council meeting, right, Greg?
Right,
That'll cure you. I was watching some with Dan Harrington out here on the island, and got a string of people up there telling them all what idiots they are. And I said to Dan, "Are you sure you want to do this?" And and now I assume once we get the water issue behind us, things will calm down.
I will say that since he's sitting here beside me, that there have been a lot of people who have urged Greg Smith to run for mayor.
Yeah, I've had the calls
Yeah.
on there, but I'd watch those meetings.
So better. The problem is, Greg, that a lot of, and I've said this before, there are people who are really good at running for office, and there are people who are really good at doing the job, and they are very rarely the same person.
That's right.
And I put you under one of these people who was good at doing the job, but not as actively into running the campaign,
I'm
not into the
absolutely
whole
not
shaking
into
hands
running.
and block walking and doing
So
all
what
that
was
stuff.
your response when they approach you?
Yeah, I really go back and forth on it, Dale.
Really?
But, so I'll sit there and think about. It's a very tough task as a council member, and it's an order of magnitude more for the mayor with it. You just go over that, and then to having such a divisive council we have now, that the frustrations when you're sitting there, when people aren't listening, they're all about themselves. It's all about egos on there.
Yeah.
And probably the biggest thing is a lack of respect. So when I was elected in 2016, it was a great council. We didn't agree, without a doubt, but we respected each other. And we weren't Democrats, we weren't Republicans. We just tried to solve. We checked our egos at the door.
But it seems like now, the job of the mayor, whoever the mayor is to define a path forward and go find 5 votes.
And to work the people together to try to keep the divisiveness down on there, do the compromises. It is not a strong mayor system. The mayor is one vote. And so you've got to go in there and you've got to compromise. You've got to respect your other on there, listen to what they have to say, meet in the middle.
Yeah.
And we haven't been meeting in the middle.
One quick break, and then we're going to get right back to, actually, Greg, we're going to keep going with this. I'm excited. All right, y'all hold fast.
Sometimes Sometimes it's Charlie's pasture and breakfast at San Juan's, or down to Roberts Point.
People came to Joe. They're running a poll right now. The desal
Let me tell you,
so to
he's
speak,
probably one of
on
the
there.
most
They're going to throw
knowledgeable,
Joe's name in
smartest
on
people
it.
who doesn't
If
have
he
any,
comes up
nobody
high
can
enough
control her.
in this poll,
Nobody can buy her off.
He would go
And
back.
she does what she thinks is right. Doesn't mean I agree with all of it. Doesn't mean you're
It
going to agree
seems
with
like
all of it or
we're,
anything else.
it-
She's
we're
a good
in 2
councilman.
years, you could solve a lot of problems. If you had a clear definition of where you want
In
to
fact, I
go,
would say she's the best councilman.
it wouldn't take that long.
It wouldn't. If we have a council that can work together, we can put this city back on track. We can start saying we got water on there.
Yeah.
Put that out there. Problem solved. Streets are much
didn't like
better
that
on
idea. I
there.
didn't like that either.
Go on some economic. Look for good economic development. Here's another under the
And I didn't
radar.
want to do
When we
that.
lost
She had it
Ian
made the rest of
Vasey,
her time. She could have
Ian had his problems and in a woke
and
world
now,
on there.
of course,
That's
people
why
that
he's
are
gone.
Yeah.
But he did bring good jobs here. The stuff that he focused on, and we need to get that back. We need to be working together as a region. Joe was great about reaching out to all the surrounding areas.
He was one that didn't run hard.
No, Joe didn't. Well, that's why. He didn't do it. Joe's all about the end result, and
Are we ready, Ox?
Almost.
I want to shift gears
I'm
a
making
little
sure
bit
they're getting the.
and talk about the election, how it affects the port. You're talking about getting water solved. I mean, if we're still having this debate a year from now, I got to believe some port
I
industry
wouldn't
is
mind
going to
having
start.
Michael Miller. I think he'd be good.
Getting a little nervous.
Disagree with him a lot, but sometimes.
they're watching things closer. I think they're probably feeling better now than
Because we
they
got
had.
water coming in.
But we have just this huge negative publicity. So you can Google Corpus Christi water, and for bringing
Yeah.
new people in there, all the competitions, they're out of water. Look, here's all the news
Right.
reports. And you got the graph of doom that says you're going to run out of water in
Right.
September
Graph of doom.
27. We got to cut that out. We
I
got
don't
to
know,
start
but that's-
selling Corpus Christi, not killing
That's a
it.
tough corner to turn now.
It
It's
is.
hard. Negative news travels and it sticks.
How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time.
Yeah, that's true.
The first thing is we got to lay out everything we've done for water, say exactly where the supply is, get the graph of doom off of there, and we've got to develop on water. This is going to be one of the big issues. New industry, how do they do it?
Segment 2, 10 minutes. You all ready?
I could care less. I think it won't be on.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Sometimes it's Charlie's pasture and breakfast at San Juan's, or down to Roberts Point. Sometimes it takes so long to wait upon the tank.
It is Island Moon Thursday. Welcome back to Island Moon Live. If you're watching us on YouTube on Island Moon Live, hello. You can go back over there and watch the show, skip around to your favorite part, or enjoy other back episodes. If not, you're listening to us on 1440 KEYS Corpus Christi and 98.7 FM. We are glad you're here. For those who are unaware, Island Moon Thursday is a show where the Island Moon crew talks about things going on Padre Island, Port Aransas, Flower Bluff, and Corpus Christi, the coastal bend as a whole, and beyond sometimes when it gets there. You know, earlier I was on my way out, walked out the door, looked at my truck, and I killed about every snout-nosed butterfly that I found on the way through that migration. And I just thought, man, it's time for me to get rid of that truck. I need to go see my buddy Frank at Discount Motor Company. He's right there at 6601 SPID, right between Turner's and the movie theater. And if you need a new car or truck, you want to get rid of that old car or truck you have, go see Frank the Bank. He wants to buy your car. He'll pay you $500 more than the big box store across the street. You can actually talk to a person who will buy your car. Frank wants that old car or truck, wants to put you in a new F-250 fleet vehicle. He's got a couple I had a nice 4x4 I saw in the other day. It's actually really nice.
He's
If
got
you-
a lot full. I was by there the other day.
Yeah, he keeps all that stuff
Work
moving.
trucks, too.
So if you want to see their active inventory, you can just go to discountmotorcompany.com and check that out. Go reach out to our buddy, Frank the Bank. But Dale, coming back on this, you wanted to kind of steer
Well,
the ship on a little different direction.
We've
but-
been talking about the city elections and how water plays into all that, but and I'm sure you guys are hearing the same thing around the state. We've kind of gotten a black eye down here. Like we can't get out of our own way. You've got the port, in need of water. You've got all of the thing going on there. What's the way through all of this? We've got to resolve you've got to resolve the water issue, but that doesn't solve the negative image that we have out there.
I think the starting point is to say everything that has been done. We've turned on the Mary Rose Pipeline 2 on there. We've done reuse on there. We've added 40 million gallons a day, or about 30 million gallons a day from Evangeline. We're looking at 20 million gallons a day. We don't even need the lakes anymore.
So, okay.
And get that out there. Right now, if you go to the city website, I call it the graph of doom.
Yeah.
and we overestimate how much we're using on there by 10 million gallons on there. We underestimate how much new supply is coming on there, and we make the basic assumption it's not going to rain again. And of course, then we're going to run out of water. Every place in Texas under those
Right.
assumptions. We've got to quit that on
So
there. We've got
long
to say what we
term,
did.
how does this affect the port?
Oh, it's disastrous for the port because every industry on there. Look, I had somebody call me up, a national retailer, big box store. They were looking at coming in with a concept store in Corpus Christi. And this was a conversation in May. But we hear all of this about water. You don't have enough
May was a
water.
tough time.
We don't want to come in there about there. I was able to talk them off the cliff. I went through exactly what I'm saying here. We've done a lot. You're just not hearing about it on there. We've got the water. You can come in there with it. So they are in 27th. That's when they're going to be looking, and if this store does come through, it's huge for the area. But how many times, how many places is that happening? Again,
Right.
last week we paid $5 million more in interest rate because all those bonding agencies, they reference the graph of doom. Yeah, whether on there, you're going to run out of water.
Well, and we actually do a very piss poor job on the city of doing public relations and in getting the message out. Communications is absolutely, I think, awful. I've never seen anything this bad in
Really?
a city this size. And the other issue with that is that we're paying money to other groups, and some of you will disagree with me on this, but I would just tell you, if I was them, I'd pull every cent we ever had to the Chamber of Commerce, because the Chamber of Commerce gets out and does nothing but bang the city council, some of the city council members, and bang them individually. And that's, I'll tell you what, if I was on city council, that'd be my first motion.
There's always been a line there.
Yeah, and there's
that's
not.
right.
There's not
That's
now.
right.
Well, now we saw in the last week or so, the port has now signed an agreement to bring in a container operation,
Yes.
which we've never seen here before.
Is that the one in Robstown?
No,
No,
well,
that's
the rail yards in Robstown.
Rail yard.
Yeah, this is absolutely huge, and
It seemed like come right out of left field.
it did, but the port has been working quietly. Just think how water and the division on council consumes everything.
Yeah.
With it, because they have on there, it could bring $500 million, $1 billion to the area. I've looked it up. That every container that comes in has a value added from $1,000 to $2,000 per container. The capacity of it is 1 million containers a year. So if they bring in 500,000 containers a year at $1,000 a container, that's a value add of $500 million to the economy. You could make the argument of $2 billion.
Yeah, and I think our port commissioners are doing an excellent job, probably better than they've done.
They stay under the radar, and that's
They
good.
do. That's how you
Boring's
do it.
good when it
Yeah.
comes to the port
Yeah.
commission.
That's always
But
good.
but I saw that announcement on the containers, and I couldn't help but wonder if it's tied to the offshore oil operation that was just recently permitted in Louisiana.
It's absolutely complete different business on
Yeah.
there. But it does tell the port you cannot rely on
Right.
oil forever. You've got to go diversify.
Diversify.
And the last administration on the port was completely oil focused. They wanted to go into hydrogen, which has just turned out to be a bomb
Yeah.
on it. But
No pun
I see what you
intended.
did
Yeah.
there.
yeah. But this container, and when I go up to Houston and I'll take Beltway 8 and I see this stream of trucks going there and just cities of warehouses. So
Yeah.
when you bring a container in, then people want to use your area for a distribution point.
Right. So then
So-
you got jobs and
Truck
Yeah.
drivers.
You truck drivers, forklift operators, you have this warehouse,
estate, yeah.
a huge amount of job, much more than an oil tanker does. For every shipload of containers, it's going to bring a lot more to the area
Gotcha.
than an oil tanker because it just takes a lot more work with a container.
Well, as I keep trying to look down the road a couple of years because, again, when I travel in the state, the only message that's out there is you guys are out of water,
Yeah.
and they think when I turn on the tap at my house, there's no water.
Yeah.
I actually
Yeah.
had friends coming in from out of town call me and ask if I have water in my house.
Kim Irwin was
Yeah.
on the show a while ago, and she said that she had people from San Antonio ask if they were going to be able to brush their teeth.
Teeth,
And
yeah.
she had to tell them no.
That doesn't go
joking.
away in
That's
a
really
week.
funny.
You can't joke about things
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah. She's probably mad at me now. Like, oh,
Yeah.
no, don't do that.
But that message doesn't go away in a week, and it's a hard thing. Like you're saying, you got to educate people, but that's not easy to do.
It's not easy to do, but for everybody that's listening, for the last 12 months, we've used average 105 million gallons a day. These are city numbers on there. We've got 60 to 65 million gallons a day now coming from the Mary Rhodes pipeline on there. We've got 20 million gallons a day coming from the Nueces River wells. They are drilling as we speak, the Evangeline wells on there. That can go up to 30 million gallons a day. They're working right now as we speak on reuse, which is 15 million gallons a
And
day.
that can double, right? Because we
Yeah, and that's a
discharge
great
30.
Yeah, so total those up, that's more than 105 million gallons a day.
Greg, what about the Evangeline? I thought they had so
Yeah, some
many
legal
chefs in the
stuff.
soup that was going to have to like, oh, that's my underground rights. That it's going to be
Yeah, where did
convoluted
the-
and take
where
a
did-
long time.
You're right, but the city's moving ahead on there. They've got the pipe is sitting out there. They're
They're
drilling the
yeah.
wells because the legal side from the Evangeline on there, they've got the rights. They own the rights. And one thing about it, Evangeline is saying, well, you have to have the underground water district. You have to have our permission to go out of the county.
Right.
Well, San Pat County uses more water that is coming out from the Nueces. So, okay, we're just leaving the water in the county. That's
Yeah.
the fallback position.
Okay.
Now,
Short hairs.
the short hair. So it's just a matter, and then some of the back deals. So we talked a little bit about data centers. So there's some looking in San Pat. Well, we want that water for the data centers for
Right.
us. It's
Right.
not that.
Yeah,
we're-
yeah.
That's not the stated agenda.
No.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. Greg, when we get back, I want to bring up some lake levels and lake information. So we're going to talk lake stuff here in just a second. Everybody, hold fast.
Spoonbills and surfing on the waves on the island across the ferry.
Solution to
It's a save water. You brush your teeth either with Logan David or something like that, or flower bluff.
You don't want it sugary on there. We
Yeah,
want-
because
Mad
that's
Dog
diabetes.
2020.
Maybe a
Like high
gin.
school.
That'll kill any damn thing that's in your mouth.
Mad Dog tastes the same going down as it does coming up. We used to drink Thunderbird on the beach. Why? Well, A, it's 99 cents a bottle. And B,
Yeah.
it tastes the same, hot or cold. You don't need an ice chest. You got to choke it down either way.
Back when I was in the concrete business, on a Friday, if we had a good week, I'd buy a beer on there and send the guy out. He'd buy a case of the good stuff on there, and then all the rest was
Natty
cheap.
Light.
Yeah, because after the first couple of beers, it doesn't matter.
Right. If it's free.
It's just the price.
Yeah. I was a Pearl drinker until they did away with it.
Lord.
Because I lived next in the shadow of the brewery. Did you know, what's his name, the police reporter, Pat Keith? He was a police reporter at the Express.
Yeah.
He dated one of the Klein girls that owned the Pearl Brewery.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And we were sitting in Josephine Street one day complaining about the price of beer. And she
What was
said,
it that place?
and she said, well, they owned it. And said that used to be the tasting house for the Pearl Brewery. And
Yeah.
her family owned the stock. And she said, I don't know why you guys come in here. She said, all you got to do is go over to the brewery, pay $5 to take the tour, skip the tour, and go to the Jersey Lily. You can drink all you want. So next day, we're over there. We had the little glasses and everything. After about 2 or 3 months, they go, weren't you guys here?
Yes,
Well, maybe. I don't know.
We're
Trying to make a decision.
All right. Segment 3, 11 minutes. You guys ready?
trust. We like to drink and fish.
Welcome back to Island Moon Live. We are here at our Docks Waterline studio on a beautiful Island Moon Thursday. Tyler, the salty angler, and Gristle Master Thorson joins us. Yes, I'm giving him new nicknames, so we'll just keep adding a new nickname every segment. Yes. Debbie Noble, political consultant Steve Ray, former city councilman and potential city council sword member, maybe. We'll see. Greg Smith.
Local
and
historian extraordinaire.
Dill Rankin. My name is Jacob Oggs. And you said something earlier, Greg, that got me thinking. And I want to while we have you here, for those who aren't aware, there's probably no one better at numbers in the city than you. So I want to talk about the importance of the lake levels because it's a huge morale booster for people. But with what you were talking about earlier, I'm curious as to how important are lake level numbers to the actual water in Corpus right now?
Well, we're developing enough supply to get away from the lakes, but where you want the lakes for is swing with it, or the Mary Rose pipeline, you need to repair it for a little while. You just use it out of the lakes. Where are we right now? We have 130,000 acre feet of water in the lakes. How does that relate? We're taking about 25,000 acre feet right now out of the lakes each year. We've got 130,000 acre feet, but in a year's time, we'll lose 50,000 acre feet of that to evaporation.
Mm-hmm.
So usable on there, we've got about 65,000 acre feet, which equates to if we were 60 million gallons a day. That's what the lakes are worth right now. We've got water going in. We've got about 3,000 acre feet going into the Lake Corpus Christi right now, coming down the Nueces on there. That's playing out. We'll probably get another 5,000 or 10,000 acre feet out of there. Texana is 99.9%. It was 39.99 feet full of.
Well, that's now that they've
43.99, 44. It's 1/100th of an
now
inch.
that they've got the pipeline working at capacity. It sounds like the lakes don't matter as much.
The lakes, 2 years ago, 60% of our water came out of the lakes. Right now, it's 20%. This is a story that is not being told.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Everyone's talking about, oh, well, yeah, our lake levels are up. You know, it was at, 7 point something for a while.
Yeah.
You know, even talking about the combined lake levels. And they're like, oh, yeah, we got rain, so it'll be up. And people are like, man, we're at the beginning of summer.
Yeah.
You understand where we might end up by September, October?
The only one that would matter would have been Choke anyway, and it never is in the right.
Choke.
Never not in the right spot.
We never should have built Choke. I always watched Lake Corpus Christi on there with it. We've had a little bit of climatic shift. We're in an El Nino, so El Nino in our area, we heard last week from John on there that it's rainier times, and that's really important for Texana. Texana only once in its life has got under 50%, so as long as we've got flow going.
We had an election when I was a little kid on Choke Canyon, and I forget what the other one was called.
L&M.
We corpused it up and picked the wrong one.
Yeah.
And we got three rivers, and we didn't catch the biggest one because we decided to turn it into a land deal.
Well, and here's another quick fact to it. So we got this rain on there. We got a lot of rain in Mathis and in that area. They quit releasing out of Lake Corpus Christi, and all the water that were taken from the Nueces River was flowing in from below the dam. And even today, right now, that they're just starting to open the dam up. So here's another supply nobody ever looks at, but you look at the graph of doom, they don't take anything like that in consideration.
Well, I think it's back to what Steve was saying earlier. A lot of that is the message that you send.
Oh, it's all message. 2 years ago, we had an issue. We had a big issue. And as dysfunctional as this council is, they were able to get enough votes together to do some major water supply things on there. And they actually, staff and council needs big credit for that.
Well, as you roll into the political season, Steve, if you're running a city council campaign, how do you counsel a candidate to address the water issue? What do you tell them?
Well, I tell them to keep it simple. You know, it's one of those KISS things. You got to keep it simple because
clickbait.
if you try to get into all this other stuff about it, nobody's going to understand. It's going to go over their head. They're going to think nothing's been done at all.
Yeah.
And if I were to tell them to address the water issue right now, I would do exactly what Greg said a while ago and look at the great successes that we've had. I mean, I'm thrilled with the reuse stuff that we're doing and the
Yeah.
fact that we're working with the industry to make
It
that
took a
happen.
drought to get us
Oh,
there.
yeah, it's, sadly enough. Yeah, sadly enough. But they have a great program, I think, for water right now. And I think it gives us a little bit more time on desal, and I hope we don't give up on desal, but I want us to get there to the right point and get there at the right place and then make sure it happens the right way, because that's the way that we...
Behind desal and water, what's the driving issue in this city election cycle?
I think some of the issues that are going to be brought up in this are the same issues that are going to be brought up in the state and nationally, and that is, look, we have one of the things about, when we talked about the pricing of everything like the desal and all that, is that people don't realize how many people are low income in Corpus Christi. I mean, we have a huge
Yeah,
amount
yeah.
of low income people.
So true.
And so that $10 a month or whatever,
Yeah.
it's just $10 a month. Well, maybe that's $10 a month to you, but that's somebody's
Right.
food.
Yeah.
That's somebody's food or somebody's medicine from somewhere
affordability.
else. And so affordability, they need to talk about affordability. And I think the city council also needs to talk about take a look at the at law enforcement, not in a bad way. I'm just saying on what our crime rate is and see what they need to make sure that our crime rate doesn't continue to increase.
How does our bond rating play into all this, or does it?
It bothers people like
Details.
Greg. It bothers people like Greg more than it bothers me.
Well, but we're not having a bond election this
No.
year.
Yeah.
No,
and
we're not,
and you
yeah.
know who's missing out on a lot of stuff from that? Us.
Us, y'all. Yeah.
Oh yeah, here, right. In fact, literally right here.
Yeah.
And our taxes don't go down. We just don't get the projects.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Greg, I think on them not getting the message out of there, I think it's a lot to do with trust, because it's like we had the cabals before, the title folks like, yeah, we're going to have destination, we're going to blah, blah.
Yeah.
And then they go like, oh, right, as Lago would say, whose biscuit is getting buttered now? You know, and that's
You're exactly right.
So- and it's
Tyler.
a shame.
Yeah, that the public has absolutely no trust on there. This goes back to the divisiveness
From all levels of government, not even just
well,
right here.
yes, all
Little bit of
levels,
that.
but from city.
How do you fix that problem? That's not something you fix over time. It's gonna. That
Yeah,
comes from the campaign trail. It comes from governance.
It does, and it
It
comes
comes from getting along and good leadership and good governance.
Well, I think even more it comes from whether or not you feel like somebody's really speaking from the heart or they're speaking from the political angle. And there are some that we won't even get into, but there are some council members that are very good at that, and because they really believe that. And then there are some that are just using it for political purposes.
And there are some people on the city side of, I won't name any names, but they have a reputation for shaving financial corners for their own benefit.
Yes, there is. There are several of them.
And we're not going to. We don't want to go there, but I think we all pretty much know who we're talking about
that's
here.
a wink, wink.
And
It got so bad, I got tickled because now they're saying everybody's making money off of it. I'm like, no, they're not.
I'm not.
Yeah.
Now all the council members are all making money. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I
there's
think people think there's a lot more corruption among people on council than there really is.
It goes
And
back
you're
to the
still gonna
level
be-
of trust.
It's Ben
It does, but
Molina,
you're right.
Lucy Rubio,
And I think
whatever. I just don't see
and what
that.
Dell was talking about is I think some of the council members have had issues in other areas other than just on city council. So I certainly understand what that's kind of permeated the other folks
we
as
have
well.
some things that we don't talk about in this town. We just keep writing checks to.
Yeah.
And Greg tried to address that.
I did, and we were talking about contributions earlier, and it's expensive. And when you have a donor that does work with the city, whether it's a developer,
Right.
a contractor, anybody, and probably half the donations come from there. And I call some people cheap dates.
Yeah.
They got $1,000 from somebody that never supported them before, and guess what? Then they're supporting
Yeah.
that particular cause. And those are the kind of trust issues that they create that environment that then blows up.
But you know, I remember something that's kind of funny on this one. When I was as the Capitol Bureau Chief for Scripps Howard and Hard Hanks newspapers, and Ann Richards had a event every year where she brought all the newspaper and the media people into the mansion, and she provided the food, you know, and the Dallas Morning News decided, well, their reporters couldn't go unless they could pay for the food themselves.
Right.
And Ann Richards had a great quote. I wish I could remember it exactly, but she says, well, if they can be...
If they can be bought by a breakfast
for
taco,
$5,
where are we?
that's what
Yeah.
she said. If they can be bought for $5, they don't need to be a journalist anyway.
Yeah.
I
So-
talked to a friend of mine over the weekend that was writing for the Caller Times, and he he found out that a local prominent politician was doing insurance deals with the people that were, and he wrote a story for the Caller. And the story that he told me this weekend is Ann Richards came down to the Caller newsroom, and next morning they fired him because it was somebody that was carrying her bills through the Senate, and they fired him. And so it brought home the notion that we don't live in a vacuum down here.
No.
Yeah.
But
know?
also, that's one side of the story. It would be interesting to hear the other side of that story.
Well, he's the guy that got fired.
Yeah.
No, but I know.
I think he
but
knows
I mean,
the story pretty well.
No, I mean the reasons why he got
Right.
fired. Like I don't know. I'm just saying there's always two sides.
I'll tell
to
you
every
this:
story,
Ann
and other
Richards was a
people-
lot
yeah.
tougher than people give her credit for.
Oh, I'm
I'll
sure.
And she was. I got to see her do her famous duck walk. So that's.
Well, I was at the. Steve and I go back, to the early '80s, and I
I was
was
just
at
a baby.
I was at a gathering of the old Express News this weekend when Bill Hendricks passed away. So I was standing in a room full of reporters, and I said, "Yeah, it's like the time. Remember when Rupert Murdoch came into the newsroom?" And I look around, I realize I'm the only one that was there. And that's when I thought about you.
Yeah.
That's when I'm going to call Steve and get him on the radio show. Because he did. He showed up with his whole family, and you were probably one of the people he was talking to, weren't you?
I think so.
Because he would take everybody down to the composing room,
yeah.
and he'd show them, "This is how we're doing it, boys.
Well,
we're
about to jump to one more quick break, and then where do you want to go for our last segment, Dale?
Do we
well, I
want to talk
guess
a little tiny
Nick's-
bit about things that are going
we
on?
need to get Nick back in,
Yeah.
I guess, and we'll do one last hit on fireworks, and then we'll talk about island events.
Sounds good. All that and more coming at you on Island Moon Live. Hold fast.
August you was 17. She faced the swell of a local hurricane. Took the falls like you've never seen.
That's hanging fire.
Oh,
Lakes
okay.
under here, you know.
I was over here.
I thought about that when I drove up.
There's vegetation growing in it.
Cattails will be coming soon.
And you know, I went up there to
We were at Lake Athens. It was 125. And I'm like, he goes, my boss goes, Tyler, like, you need to quit getting on that bar stool with the flock at night because you're sweating one more than you should be.
Yeah, be drinking water. Always be drinking. So our air conditioner started leaking. So Bob is up.
Yeah.
Like why? It's so hot up there. He comes down and he's just.
What do you figure out?
It was just clogged.
Yeah, the
and they
flow amount flow.
nobody's asked for stuff. You know, I mean, we could have probably got the factory.
Oh, that is good.
When you go blueberry
Mud
picking.
flat right here. Put a mud
All right.
We have like one more.
Somebody's just got to make the.
Okay, segment 4, 9 minutes.
Hang on. we can't do it without the in absentia.
I would ask Nick, whose fireworks are better, downtown or his?
Ours have to work. We've got to take it.
I'm watching my website. I'm going to start doing this.
All right, you ready to fire this back up?
Texas surfer girl, Texas surfer girl, Texas.
And we are back on Island Moon Live, the show where we talk about things going on Padre Island, Flower Bluff, Port Aransas, and the Coastal Bend as a whole. Special thanks to Greg Smith and Steve Ray for jumping on earlier, as well as Jace Tunnel for coming on by. It was a lot of fun. Tyler Thorson, Debbie Noble, and Nick Colosi joined me at the table. My name is Jacob Oggs. We'll have Dale jumping back up here in a sec, but Island Blast is coming up. Debbie, you had a couple questions you wanted to get through, right?
Question, Nick, if people are trying to decide who has the better fireworks, downtown Corpus Christi or out here on the island, Island Blast?
We do for a couple of reasons. First off, you don't have to drive 40 minutes to get there. Secondly, you don't have to pay $10 to park.
True.
Then you don't have to carry your chair 5 blocks.
There you go.
And then you don't have gridlock after the show. And ours is bigger
excellent
and better
reasons.
anyway.
Yes, and
No,
you-
I have been to both. I alternate, and I can tell you that the fireworks out here are fabulous. You do a great job every
if you
year.
get a
Always very
chance
impressive.
to get on a boat and watch the Island Blast fireworks show on the 4th of July. I highly recommend it because you can get out where you can see, have the reflection off of the water. It's just beautiful. And there's tons of places to get to. What you can't do is get right up next to the water treatment plant at the end of the
And you know what?
yacht
You
club at
shouldn't
the end of
wanna be
Whitecap.
right there.
Yes, yes.
That's
There
not
is a
safe.
fallout area. If you go to islandmoon.com, you can see where we have the you probably shouldn't park here after 8 map. And
Yeah.
and you've got a bunch of agencies you had to go through to get all this straight, right? What was
There's 15 agencies, city, state, and federal, that we have to
Wow.
go through every year
Yes,
to get
yes.
everything.
And I want to say a special thank you to everybody who donated and was a big part of the fundraising for this.
You always remember that we have no public money. We have no tax money. No one is donating. This is strictly people and some of our local businesses who pay for this.
And,
Yeah.
and nobody gets paid to do it either,
Oh, no.
other than the fireworks people that we hire.
Oh,
to
yeah,
do it,
obviously the fireworks
people,
company,
but yeah, everybody else is just a volunteer.
Yeah, and it's a lot of work.
It is.
Yeah.
Because we start this in about November is when I started talking to the fireworks company to plan the show. And then in January, we have to have 50% down. And in February is when we start dealing with all the agencies to get permissions, licenses, permits. A lot of it is because we have explosives, and that's a very big deal, both state and national.
Fair enough.
And to get our security in place, but the fire, the police, and medical are tremendously supportive of us. And this year, we got to thank to Pinky's Plumbing.
Plumbing.
If they didn't make a huge contribution, we wouldn't have met the down payment.
Oh, very nice.
And then
Good for them.
And they came in.
Excellent. Nice
And then
job.
Valero, with their immense gift, that paid for the end of the show. So thank
right.
you to
Thank you,
Pinky's
Valero.
Plumbing and Valero.
Nice.
You saved the day.
That's
So-
right, because didn't we call out Valero on the radio one day, and then
Yeah,
we had Darcy
Yes,
immediately
and-
calling us the next day and saying, "All right, we're
Dr.
gonna
Gully
check."
said, "Let me
Yeah.
make a phone call."
So Valero called me and they said, well, we hear you need money, and we said desperately. And they said, well, what are you thinking about? And I said, well, maybe 1,000, and if you give me 500, I'd be thrilled. And she laughed and she said, you're already approved for 5,000.
Yes.
Well,
It
underwhelming.
just goes to show you were leaving money on the table.
I had no
aside,
concept.
aside from Island Blast coming up on July 4th, what else do we have going on, Debbie?
We do have. Don't forget, on the Friday night is the Patriotic Golf Cart Parade out here on the island, which is always super fun. There's maps online. It starts at 6:30, and it starts over at the elementary school, Seashore Elementary School, and you have tons of people will be in that, and all the flags. They're throwing candy, and that's a lot of fun. It's also Art Walk downtown that same night, so I'll be downtown. It's a 4th of July Art Walk. Tonight, we don't want to forget, is the Padre Island Farmers Market. That's at Whitecap from 4 to 7. You have all kinds of vendors, some of the best sourdough bread in town, usually a little bit of music, some food trucks. That's always a fun
You used to get
fun
eggs there. You
evening.
can still get
yes,
eggs?
Yes, you get eggs. I get all my eggs there.
Well, the press release, and I'll get clarity, but the press release we put on the front page of the Moon about the work going on at JFK, they say it's done on June 30th, which is Tuesday, I believe.
Yeah.
Yes.
It does not say specifically if they're going to be there through the weekend, but I get the impression that they are.
Oh, that's
So
Oh, no.
if your friends are coming from San Antonio or Austin, tell them to add an hour to their drive, because if it's 30 minutes on a Thursday morning, it's going to be an hour on the weekend.
Go early and stay late.
all right. So if you're downtown, maybe don't try to come to the island in the middle of all that.
Yeah, if you get to the island, stay.
If you get out, if you do get out here, just stay here.
Yeah, we
Give us
should
all
run
your
a-
money, buy all your food out here,
run
buy
a
all your
ferry
drinks out
boat.
here.
We have Google Maps. Everybody, you can just see if you need to stop, hit up Whataburger or go by
Yeah.
Jalisco's, grab some tacos, and just eat them while you're cruising in traffic, and you'll be fine.
You need
By
a
the
pack
way,
with
the,
yours.
the JFK cam is back up, and it was down for a couple of days because I kept trying to check it, but
Yeah.
it seems to be working again. I
I
just
don't know if
checked
you
it.
could see the
Awesome.
traffic jam.
So,
I
yeah.
guess.
It was farther. It was
It's,
before you even got to the causeway.
So,
Yeah.
Nick, when will the fireworks guys get here?
They'll probably get here sometime on the 3rd.
The 3rd.
And it takes them about 5 or 6 hours to lay the grid.
So we got to
Yeah.
close the dog park's got to be closed on the 3rd then.
Right. It'll
Oh,
be
yeah,
closed
yeah.
on the 3rd
Yeah.
and the 4th, and it'll be closed the morning of the 5th.
I feel
That's
like
when they
I feel
take
like
it down.
I feel like cavorting dogs and fireworks probably not a good combination.
No, not good. Well, besides the dog, it's the people because they want to get close. They want to look at the grid, and they're going to trip on the wires and rip them out, or they're going to play with the canisters, and instead of going straight up,
That's a
they're
bad time it's a bad time to let little Billy play with his flare.
not good. So we just got to do it for.
It's
for
also,
safety.
I want to remind everybody, it's the Bay Jammin' season for the whole summer. Free concerts every Thursday night at Cole Park. And movies, they show G-rated movies on Friday nights. So that's free for anybody to go and do. And I know
So no Billie Jean.
on the, yeah, they're right. I think that was a PG, not G. I think they have a special concert on the 4th of July at Cole Park, too. I think it's Raul Ayala, who's a really fun actor to watch.
I love his music. You
Isn't
can
he
find
great?
it. You can find it on Spotify and
Yeah.
YouTube. And I haven't seen him live yet.
Oh my God, he's amazing live.
Is
He
he
has a
18
band
yet?
up in Austin now, too. So he has a band here and a band in Austin, and he
I
travels.
ran a
around.
history of fireworks the last 2 times in the moon, Nick,
Yeah.
going all the way back to the beginning.
Yes, from the
When
one
we
of the
started.
pictures of the original when Jerry started that, and you ran around with a leather jacket, face shield, and a flare. Not a good idea.
Well,
That
and your article this week and your stuff I heard is actually pretty cool, talking about beach facilities, surf pier, the way things have changed but really stayed the same. You found a really cool shot from 1970 that David Wallace took down the beach.
Nice.
And, I mean, obviously the cars are a little older, but it looks exactly
Yeah.
the same. It's outstanding.
And we're still opening our truck doors to use the lack of facilities.
Oh,
we
no.
use the beach method because we still don't have any. And now they've even taken the porta-johns off the beach because of the high water.
Oh,
But
yeah.
we apparently lack the technology to put restrooms on the beach. I don't. We tried back when Greg was on the ISAC.
Yes,
Yeah.
they were very nice. They were air conditioned. They had solar panels and lights,
Yeah.
and people stole the light fixtures
Yeah.
out of them.
Oh,
it was
my
that
gosh.
They
bad.
looked like Airstream trailers.
And
They
then
were-
Yeah, they
Yeah.
were gorgeous.
Greg was talking about the high cost of doing city projects. They
Yeah.
came in with an estimate. It
Oh,
was
yeah,
a
remember that?
3-holer at $1 million.
Yeah.
So it's $350,000.
Well, if you-
per hole.
a dollar a shot, maybe you might make it.
So we just stick with the dodging rattlesnakes in the dunes, go in the water, or open the truck doors. Take your pick.
Yes. Awesome. Well, it's another beautiful Thursday. I hope everybody has a great weekend. Thanks again to all of our guests, everybody that showed up, hanging out on the show. We're going to have a
We will have next week. We will have who are we? We're having Gabe Gear, I believe, from
Yes.
the Port Commission.
Yes.
The following week it'll be Vicente Gonzalez, the U.S.
Nice.
rep.
Fish in the
Yes.
bay this weekend. Going to be really windy offshore.
oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And snapper season is open. So we
Right.
have that too.
And we have Saharan dust.
There is tons going on. If you are curious about any of this, just go to Island Moon Live, where you can get all the updates you were looking for and more. This is Jacob Oggs from Island Moon Live and the Island Moon. Everybody keep it on Island Time.
She says it proud with that Texas drawl. Port Aransas strong. Port Aransas strong. Talking about that Texas.
Saturday and Sunday. And the way they set it up is not good.
They did have, there was 2 wrecks on there when I was there.
Really?
Yeah, and then by the time you got there, it cleared up because once they got that thing going, they still had the on ramp for Laguna Shores blocked. I sat there for 20 minutes before I moved, and then when I
that what
moved,
the wreck was?
yeah, there were 3 cars.
Well, you know, if they put what ends up happening is it says right lane closed,
And then
1
people
mile,
haul
and
ass.
People haul ass down the right,
And then they
lane
can't stop,
cut
yeah.
in. You put a traffic cop there and get them to merge there.
I damn near hit,
The
like
zipper doesn't
coming back
work.
over the bridge the other day, and I was in a company truck. I went to the thing when they go, and they only had one lane, and it wasn't even closed off past Waldron exit. I damn near hit these guys. They had to come to a complete stop like that, and I had to swerve in the other lane to not hit somebody.
Really?
Yeah, and it was stupid, just dumb.
Crazy.
I didn't even drop papers at HEB because I didn't want to get a solid traffic snarl. So I'll have to go back.
All right, everybody wave. Bye.
Goodbye.